you.
I'm
Happiness.
rolling that side. Sure. Are you rolling that guy? Oh, we're good, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sis Zola Mbatha, thank you so much for joining me today on Konvo. You and I had a conversation, and we were meant to have this sit down a while back. When we first sat, we were meant to be having this sit down, and we ended up speaking about a whole lot of other things. Then we sat down with Tuputu Ntlantla Lux, and we touched on this, but then we spoke about a lot of other things. The one guy who did you justice was with David Mashabela, because you guys actually unpacked, and that was really brilliant.
Thanks.
Because you deal with this a lot, I'd like to think you also have a bit of fatigue in this conversation, and people can refer to others. So I'm not going to redo what everyone else has done. They can refer. Yeah. Maybe at some point we can do it again. I'm not sure. You and I had a conversation. You sent me a lot of your DMs. Thank you so much for that, which we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
From people, ordinary, real people out there asking you questions around the topic of family homes and those things. I would like us to do that last.
Okay.
I would like us to actually go on the 3 points that you raised and start there. And I'm going to try and be as tight as possible so that we don't spend hopefully more than 30 minutes on that. And then we can spend an hour or over an hour going through now. Because I know if we start with the DMs,
we'll finish.
We're never going to get to these. And I
true.
think some of these also affect umsebenzi wako that you do.
Yeah.
And one of my hopes, especially when I have people on this platform, is to try and get them as much business as possible.
Yeah.
Not just to make money, but because I think you're valuable and I think people can benefit from you. And because they can hear you and they know you've got a pure heart. It's like, nangu sisu khona. Sicela ninikeze imali noma ninikeze abantu eningabasi. 3 important points. Number 1, the cost of estate administration. Number 2, there's something you want to discuss around the recognition of customary marriages. I don't know if that's linked, which would be number 3, a family trust for the family home.
Yeah.
I don't want us to address the DMs. So when you're speaking to these, don't be like, look, there's going to be one of the DMs.
Okay, no.
We can just speak about this.
They're not even related at all.
No problem. Standalone.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
100.
The cost of estate administration and what that means for the ordinary South African out there. Please.
Yeah. So look, I wrote an article, just after I got admitted, and I called it The Cost of Dying. And, people really, we can't afford to die, to be honest with you. Let me run through it. Firstly, thank you. It's lovely to be here with you again. Yes, in case I want to jump in there. It's lovely to be with you. I'm actually very appreciative of the friendship and brother and sisterhood that, we've developed. And we were supposed to have the sit down in Jan.
Yeah.
So good July, and I'm a firm believer of timing. So I'm happy it's now. But you're very right. There is a lot of instances and spaces that I've spoken about this. I mean, the other time I gave you a call or a message, since you don't take calls, Penuel, I always call you out for that. I mean,
people
really,
don't need to know that.
I always call you out for that. You don't take calls. I want to be that privileged. And I was with Ubabu Den from ENCA. And he was just saying, and I was talking to him about this, and I was actually talking to him about the family meeting we had with Ntlantla, the 3 of us, because the concept was we'll sit down as siblings, let's show South Africa or your listeners what it looks like to sit down and have a family meeting without adults and actually give each other a chance and speak it out. So I did say there that I've been on all of these places and I've discussed this topic. I even touched on a broader solution which speaks to a collaboration, government department collaborations to solution for this, because it is draining. It's everyday calls. The DMs I sent you are only from TikTok. I haven't even touched Instagram. WhatsApp is epic. The guy who did my website put my personal cell phone number on the internet by mistake. And I haven't taken it out since I discovered.
It's still there.
It's still there and it's overwhelming. I mean, I'm going to change my number because it's a lot. So I actually went to therapy yesterday for the first time, because it's a lot. You can't listen to Gogo Nabo Mama Bekala almost every day. And the kind of problems they have are literally making them cry. When I first went to Newsroom Africa, I sat there, it's like I was being dramatic. When I said, I'm sitting in a hall full of people about Kalayo, it's now on my phone. So it is a lot. It's draining. And I'm very emotional. I'm always acting all tough and laughing a lot, but I'm very sensitive. I mean, I cry watching TikTok videos and I start praying for the people on the other side of the video. So to hear real live problems right on my phone and someone saying, Sisi, how can you help me? When at the summary of it is I'm saying currently in the formats in South Africa, there is no singular institution that is administering estates where the estate doesn't have money. And most estates from the communities do not have money. They only have the family home. They don't have cash. Ugogo doesn't have a savings or an investment somewhere to cover the estate costs, transfer costs, the costs I'm about to detail down to you now, because I want to use R1 million
as an
example, because most municipal property valuations for these family homes are averaging 1 million now. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. I appreciate being with you. And yeah, let me talk to you about the cost of dying.
Before you speak about the cost of dying,
yeah,
you've started attending therapy.
Well, yesterday.
For your mental and emotional well-being?
For my mental and my emotional well-being, yes. Yes.
You're paying for this out of your own pocket?
Yes. I'm paying for everything that's got to do with, even when I call them back, sometimes you get a DM and you can't solve it via text.
Yeah.
You can't. So I was just checking. And I make calls. I don't care about lezo zinto lezo, ama airtime, ama data, neskati even, because I'm privileged enough to have taken time off right now from being an employee and focusing on just taking this message out. But all of it, even flying, when I have to go somewhere, it's all of it from my pocket or my partner, very supportive partner.
Shout out to your
Yeah,
partner.
very,
Are you
supportive.
getting help and support from elsewhere, and are you open to other people within your fraternity or anywhere saying, can we please, we can go through the DMs. We can set up a page for you.
Yeah, like a
here,
hotline
and then we'll sort it out. And then maybe other people can help with fundraising.
Yeah.
Because you're doing community work, you're doing, as you said, government work. And look, if government can come on board, that would be dope. And maybe we can find out from the Department of Social Development and also maybe even the Department of Justice to see if maybe we can get a budget for that, to be like, look, there is no institution dealing with this. We found someone who's put their hand up. We just need support where we can. It doesn't even have to be financial all the time. I know government sometimes will tell you about budgets, just facilities. And then anyone else who wants to join you, you're open to that? Yeah, look, to answer your question, no, there isn't a single entity or person or individual right now that's saying, oh, you've been doing this for 2 years now on your own, let's help you. No, there isn't an institution like that. I actually don't mind it, because working with stakeholders is a compliance nightmare. People are just not as clean as they're supposed to be. So the last thing I want is to say, basically I'm saying here, we have an issue in South Africa. We have a family home problem. We know the history. I've gone through it over and over again, where these family homes come from. I'm now saying in the atmosphere and space of 2024, where this Dlamini case was the judgment came out. The problem now is that people are having those kind of problems and all other problems, which we will understand at a later point. And they're having it regularly. And it's an everyday problem. And when I look just from a data point and from my own experience, there isn't a solution. I did that video when we had the sit down with Nhlanhla, where I said, currently in South Africa, as long as the estates are out of the hands of the banks, no one else administers them. And then I saw a lot of people come out, oh no, why do you think you can speak on behalf of legal aid? But legal aid is not administering estates. It's a fact. And then the other one said, there are pro bono institutions with the Legal Practitioners Council. The problem with that is, firstly, there's an 18-month waiting list. Umuntu, if a person is crying today on Monday, 18 months is very far for the problem that they are facing, number one. Number two, that pro bono, when you administer an estate, which are the costs we're about to go through now, there's several costs. Whichever attorney that is given that estate, they tell the heirs they must still pay for the disbursement costs. These are the costs of the sheriff. These are the costs of the master's office. These are the costs to transfer the property. You must pay your rates clearance. If your house owes for water and electricity, you must pay it. So what is the point of that pro bono? Because it doesn't dish out money for the expenses. So therefore, effectively speaking,
they are not being administered. So I'm saying this is a problem. And because of this problem, people are now fighting in these homes, and they're fighting viciously. At some point, a lot of them are becoming homeless. A lot of them are getting evicted because of the whole will and transfer of ownership to one member of the family. And so I'm now saying there is a missing collaboration here between 3 government departments. Department of Home Affairs, because the Department of Home Affairs identifies and authenticates each heir and person that is related to the house, the family home, and the estate. The Department of Justice, the Master's Office, there is a huge role because you can only administer an estate at the Master's Office, and the Deeds Office, whichever department the Deeds Office falls under. I know it's regulated by the Deeds Registry Act. Those 3, because the Deeds Office deals with the actual transfer of the family home. These are where the expenses are. So if we have a pro bono department or a budget allocation for the family home or community people who don't have these expenses, it has to come from these 3 departments for it to work effectively and for it to minimize the fraud element. Remember I mentioned once a gogo has sat in a house for over 10 years and she has not administered her husband's estate, therefore the house is still being owned by the deceased husband, that's where the fraud starts happening, because this house is most owned by a dead person for 10 years. So the family is clearly not interested. And then there's documents that come up, and then the transfer happens, and then the gogo ends up being evicted. So this is something that needs to happen. If it doesn't happen, all that's going to happen is I'm going to keep giving people advice on the phone, ineffective advice, because it all leads to the fact that there is no money for them to administer these estates. This is why it's important for us to go over the costs.
Thank you. I was worried about you.
Me,
I'm
I'll
worried
be okay.
about you.
I've got you.
My we don't know about that. I mean, I'm not trying to save anybody.
Like, yeah. Are you still swimming there, or are you drowning?
You're open to getting help, and you're open to the departments that you've listed contacting you, because the last thing we want is someone who's taken on a fight. We lose you.
Yes.
And by lose you, I'm not talking like the most extreme losing you. I just mean you're like, you know what, I'm tired. Therapy is draining me. I've been crying. I'm depressed. Let me actually just go work. Someone else can go fight this, but I won't. And then we lose you because people weren't coming to assist. And it's like, but you didn't help me. And you're like, but I was on all these platforms. You guys heard me speak about how difficult this is and what it's doing. And all of you were just sending your family members to me. Yes,
you're all professionals.
But bathumela kimi as this superwoman. I don't know where I'm supposed to do all this stuff. Come help me. You're also a lawyer. Maybe you're an accountant. Maybe you guys run a non-profit organization. Maybe you've got a company that can fund. Maybe you can just come and help with admin on weekends to say, my family struggled. So I'm going to donate in the year. I'm going to give you 5 days. I'm not going to make money on those days. And I'm just going to come and help in whatever way. And we now have this team helping imndeni yabantu to be like, guys, sizonisiza ngoba manje niyathakathana niyabulalana over imizi yagogo nomkhulu, where we can actually help solve these things. So angithi nasifundisa sesifundile sicela ukunisiza ke
100%.
Okay. Thank
agreed.
You. The cost of dying.
So the cost of dying, as you know, once a person passes away, firstly, it's very important to note, once a person dies today, no family member, no one is allowed to touch their accounts. Okay? You can't.
Exactly.
Bank card legally.
No one is meant to take.
A dead person can't spend money.
But I mean, someone has to pay electricity and buy selling the policy.
But okay, that's fair. But then that's not, it's not guaranteed that people will do that only.
Of course.
Some will just withdraw money and run off.
But legally, we're not allowed to touch a dead person's account.
It's supposed to be frozen on that day, but it's administratively impossible because you don't have a death certificate yet. You're supposed to give the death certificate to the bank so the bank can freeze the accounts. But obviously, a death certificate is not issued on the same day. So don't use that window period to draw out money. The master's office will want that money back. Okay?
So now, if that person was a breadwinner, then what happens?
That's the thing.
So let's say like you've got a partner, your partner knows all your passwords. Like if it mang border, go to this folder, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So you're saying that is not allowed, even though you're married in community of whatever, you're not
Yeah.
allowed to do it.
You are not allowed to spend money from a person that has died. You don't have the
So we're
power,
speaking
the
law,
legal
right?
authority. This is
Okay,
the
no.
legal.
Yeah. But there's
Okay.
real life.
Okay, but in reality,
The problem we have, which she's raising. So if nina kumele nithenge ugesi, airtime, kumele niyothenga ishebo, we can almost understand. The problem is there's going to be malicious people who are going to be like, aye, we're also waiting for the
Free
policy.
fall.
But now they look at the account, Utebs has got 5 million. Now there's a car now. Now they've paid, and you're like, so when
Exactly.
the law takes course, they're gonna go and ask questions of, but we see this car was bought 5 days after the deceased passed away. So that's gonna be a problem. And then people are gonna be like, but why can't I use this money? It's my
Yeah, it's
husband's. You're
our
like, no,
money.
legally you're not allowed to spend that money.
So even in community of property, are you
even
protect?
in commuter property. In fact, that's one of the risks of commuter property is that your accounts technically are supposed to be frozen until your combined estate is administered. So don't get married in commuter property. Just don't. But yes, that is the case.
I didn't say
Just
it.
don't
I
do
didn't
it.
say it. I didn't say it.
My
Sorry,
sister
Ma.
and I, Tivelo, always say it. Yeah. So with that being said,
Not allowed
yes.
to use the dead person's account is number
No,
one.
I mean, we're not to throw shade or anything, but after Senzo Mayua died, and then Kelly Kumalo's mom was driving around in his car, outside of that just not being good.
The mom.
Yeah.
Or Kelly Kumalo's mom, his girlfriend, not even his wife, his girlfriend's
his
mother.
girlfriend's mom.
Not his own mother.
Driving around in his car, and God knows probably using... Oh, let me not even go there. Let me go to what we did see. That's just not it. You're supposed to park that car. The reason being, had they crashed that car, who's responsible for insuring and fixing it? Because now the owner is deceased.
Yeah.
So
But
it's-
I'd like to
yeah,
think she didn't know. Umuntu who's passed away, imoto ibipakwe ngiyazi ujola nengane yami. Sidinga imoto ukuyolanda ingane, of which one of ingane yakhe. So ngizoyi-driver. But
Yeah.
angithi siyafundisana manje.
Truth. That's
Okay.
exactly the point.
All right.
Okay, now with that being said, the first cost is obviously the funeral cost, right? So what is an average black person's funeral cost right now? It's about 100,000 because of
That's
the coffin.
the average.
Yes, that is the average funeral, but that's like one of the lowest funeral or average funeral policy amounts or values.
We'll debate it another day.
50,000
Please
to
carry on, ma'am.
100,000, and then you spend all of it in the funeral because uzohlaba inkomo manje siwu 20,000 all of a sudden. Whenever that happened, your casket is costing about 50,000 because koni show off element, and there's food, and the people who start visiting you from the day you find out that you lost your family member until the day after the funeral, and we take about 7 days to bury someone. So there's 7 days of feeding anyone who
Bafuna
walks in.
amakhekhe, bafuna
Yeah,
iplate,
you
bafuna
can't
itiye.
and let them come to your house and walk out bengadlanga. All of a sudden, it's not about your loss. It's about the fact that you didn't feed them. And I'm calling them out for that because it's very
must.
bad behavior. yabantu abamnyama.
It's not Ubuntu anymore.
Yeah, it's not Ubuntu.
Maniyokhalisa abantu, niphatha
must bring
ama-tea-bags,
something,
niphatha
man.
ushukela, niphatha
Yeah,
amakhekhe,
the
niphatha
case-
i-cross. It doesn't even need
Local
to...
drink.
Masicela abantu, we're not even saying take money. Take a container that you have and scoop rice, maize meal. Take tea bags from the ones you have. Just, if anything, mhlambe, just take the things you'll consume when you're there.
Yeah,
At the very
yourself,
least.
at the very least,
at the very
exactly.
least, yeah.
Siyazi kushona ubaba ba. As opposed to expecting umama uhlele ematrasini ney'ngane zakhe to take care of you. But sesiyishilo ke leyo. So that's the first cost, it's the funeral cost. Then, after everyone has eaten, and also, by the way, kukhona lento yokuthatha umphako. Mebehamba labantu umngcwabo uma usuphelile, hayi ingane ngeke ikwazi ukusala nenkomo yonke izobola. There they go with isishebo senyanga yonke, and then the kids are left.
Uthi umphako zikami nawo.
Hayibo. Umphako womngcwabo ndiyazi nokudla komngcwabo emakhaya kuqala asiqaleni lapho nje.
No, phela kushona umuntu wasekhaya.
We,
Nathi just to bamba something.
uhamba nomlenze wenkomo. Hayi.
Your suggestion, this is now a cultural moral
Leave
thing.
these
Your suggestion is when you're going to a funeral, don't leave with food.
Don't take, put back.
Leave the food there for the family that's left there.
Because remember, I just told you you're not allowed to use a deceased person's money. So they need this food until the estate is administered.
Some of us come from Joburg, so this becomes the time taste my scones, auntie. That we haven't had
Hey,
in a
that thing is a
while.
flaw. But don't forget as well, even when someone passes away, I get it. There's the thing of, no, the leg belongs to the uncle
Yeah.
of the cow. no, this one belongs to the aunt.
But is that a bad thing, though? I'm trying to defend
Not
abantu.
for
No, but I'm just saying
funeral,
with what we're
folks
speaking
sebenza
about, it
ukubonga.
becomes a
Yeah.
problem.
Yes.
Because all the funerals you go to Mfethu, you know, if the funeral is done and it's a Monday, that house is empty, bro.
Yo,
Like Ntwana, empty. No good, like next. Everything is gone. Yeah, because like,
So we're saying people mustn't leave with
Stop
anything.
with that.
No, stop.
I just
Unless if
explained
there's
this family no longer has access to this man's money.
unless if there's no one that's taking anything.
How do you mean?
One of my parents or grandparents passes away. Sonke siyongcwaba but sonke sesihlala emadolobheni.
Okay, akekho
So in a
uzosala.
akekho uzosala.
Then you have to go
But makhona abazosala,
umndeni.
please don't take anything.
Yeah, imndeni nje muzosala.
Even if ngithumela imali uthi kuse angibhakele extra scones ebhakedeni.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, but don't be that guy who proposes
I'm
to
not
his,
taking, though.
Don't be that guy who proposes to his girlfriend at someone else's wedding. Why unga order maskon dale ukuba seqedile ukushona?
I never
you are
went to
seeing an
emakhaya.
opportunity now. Ubonile isikhathi sama-scones
Say
manje.
aunties awuthi angishayela ibhakede lami eceleni ngizopaka imoto la ufaka ibhakede ngemuva just ungajumpisi.
Yeah, so that's ukudla kwasemngcwabeni manje. No,
Anyways,
so
okay,
the
sorry.
funeral cost is a lot. Therefore, I understand why black people focus on funeral policies, but really, Bafethu, that only covers the cost of the funeral. We just discussed what happens when the funeral ends. Okay, so
Look, let me defend them. I'm not a big fan of financial services products.
sure.
But a lot of them are taking feedback because I see the ads. They're always around. They're starting to add things like imali airtime, imali gross,
To arrange the funeral.
electricity. I
Yeah.
think they're starting to even consider things like cash.
Even
for the
cattle as
week.
well now.
Yeah.
Nenkomo,
Yeah.
and I think car hire, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken,
sure.
for the week before the funeral. Bayaqala bayabona iy'nkinga.
Yeah, ukuthi, yeah.
But laba
that's
abangenayo, they
all
must sort it
centered
out.
around burying someone. It's so glorified. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all know. I mean, I've vocalized it enough. I'm very cultural. Ngikhuliswa ngosiko. You know, Ubaba Mbatha, my dad is a very strict dad. Simulile. All of us. Like I told you, my sister is going to do memulo wake next year and she's 25, you know? So, see, we're very much cultural. Even my mother, she's very spiritual. So, ngiyal understand that usiko.
Yeah.
Nale yeqolo that goes to malume. Ngiyahlonipha leyo nto, but the lack of information makes you put culture over the well-being of people. And
Yes.
I'm hoping the information can make that balance happen. Sure. But Oksalayo, systematically speaking, you're talking about people catering for the burial. Anything that's got to do with umuntu omnyama is about ukufihla. Yes, fanele Metropolitan did a great thing with the Shembe Church. They did a funeral policy that caters to the Shembe burial process. Inkomo ezohlatshwa la, inkomo ezohlatshwa laphaya, you know. So it's great that they're modernizing and recognize, but it's still tapping into the economy of black people glorifying funerals.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with life covers that will create cash for the family after the breadwinner or someone who brought significant amount of money to the family is gone. In the business space, it's called buy and sell and key man policy.
Yeah.
The buy and sell is a policy that a business person gets so that when one of the business directors or key stakeholder of that business dies, that policy will release a significant amount of money into the business solely for the purposes of buying the shares of this person or to get someone else who's equally qualified as this person. That's what that money does. It focuses on making sure the business continues to run. And so that's what I've got against these funeral policies. They focus on the burial and Sunday. That's it.
You'd suggest to people that work in the product design of insurance, funeral cover people to say, look, consider having something like a key man policy for a breadwinner. Ukuthi as much as sizongcwaba, you know, simnikeza isithunzi, we'd also like to say, because you've lost your mom, your dad, your nayi ne wealth yabo, as incorporated. Let's not just say it's only the burial. Let's also add dignity beyond
that
this
already
burial.
exists.
Isn't
it's called
that
a
life cover?
Yeah,
So I understand
it
life
already
cover, but
exists.
it's separate products. I think we're speaking about a situation where now they give you airtime and I'm saying maybe the products should also be like, look, siyazi nizongcwaba, but anikwazi ukuvela ningcwabe nilambe.
Yeah.
So as part of our funeral offering, you can either add life cover or we've also added this benefit of Lena sikhipha after the burial. Ukuthi say na imali at least
As
yokuphila
cash
khona.
injection.
It might cost more because it's risk
Yeah,
dependent,
yeah.
but editors
Yeah.
something we've heard the cries
Yeah.
that you guys are like the funeral was beautiful.
Great.
Thank you so much for everything.
Sihle kamnandi.
But then savele salamba the next week. So can we please tweak
Cater
the
for that,
product
because
somehow?
also after a person dies, yes, I agree with that. Even though to me it just tells me you think that abantu abamnyama don't like life covers. That's what it is. If you're trying to create a hybrid of another product that already exists here in the funeral policy, it's almost as if the black mind is stuck in the funeral
But you
policy.
have to.
You have to have a funeral
Unfortunately,
policy.
we can speak you and I, but abanye abantu abaningi mele ubacabangele, because these things are for airtime.
Yeah.
Why does a funeral cover have to send you airtime? Where are your family members? Ipe yake airtime. So we're saying it's here. If you guys are organized, then it will just be a bonus.
Yeah.
But if you're not organized, at the very least, because abantu ngempela bayalinda amapolisa khokhe, and you ask this whole time, beningacabanga, and you're like, okay, for those of you mhlawumbe abangafundile or abangazi, sicela ukunicabangela ukunisiza. And
what
then
it
for
is,
everyone else,
ukubacabangela, yeah.
then you can use maybe more sophisticated type of financial planning.
Yeah, look, from a behavioral trait, vele umuntu would rather pay one thing
Yeah.
than two separate things because akanamali. Kodwa-ke, I concede, I accept that. It's just that akusalayo inhliziyo yami ibuhlungu ukuthi there's a lot of families that only experience that kind of financial freedom through death and a funeral cover.
I wanted
Yabo.
to make this point. It's directed to Africans specifically.
Yeah. Nabelungu, they what do they do? What's that crematorium?
Oh, to cremate.
Cucumber sandwiches. That's it. 10,000 is a lot of money.
As Africans, we need to. I think this is something you said on one of the platforms.
Yeah.
We really cannot give you your best dignity, usufile.
Yeah.
We need to shift that whole thing around.
Yes.
It cannot be.
And that's what it is.
You'd rather, and I know this is going to sound wrong because we are Africans, you'd rather give the least dignity ngoba umuntu akasekho and give them the most dignity besaphila.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because honestly, as much as we want to say goodbye, but awusekho to see sigqoke our best. I think because we've got certain rituals, of course, omemulo and those things, maybe we need to add other living. We've got a Thanksgiving to say, when you get to this age, bonguma wako no baba wako, and we make it African. Monga ubanban.
Yes.
So that if anything happens,
like
so I will cremate you, but sagbonga usaphila.
Truth.
And if maybe the capitalists are like, okay, here's a chance for a product where after you graduate, we've also got a policy where you now thank your parents at the very least, because it cannot be that he highlights your mntu omnyama, it's umshado, nomngcwabo, and a lot of it has to do with debt. It's rubbish.
And then I'm trying to figure out ukuthi if umagogo wena usaphila, this matriarch, she wants to nimakhela ama-room or extend the house. It's so difficult for the children.
But
it's a board.
Money comes out of everywhere.
You're like, wait, this man, where was this money 2 years ago when she wanted you to mfakela ma-tiles?
It's these funeral.
And you said
we
no.
Must change, we must change the culture.
It makes no sense.
No, we must change the culture.
Or is it the fact that you're not willing to risk your own money while she's alive?
Yes.
That's the
But it is your own money
money
with funeral cover.
Marinyane. Like
No, I'm
350
saying,
a month,
We can do 350 for living, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what you
I'm
were saying.
saying.
Yeah.
We can tweak this thing and change it.
You know who embodied that flowers while you're living, and I really so easy. You know what he did with his mother. I am very proud of him. Why?
Somizi unemali. Kodwa
Mali
unemali.
yaSomizi.
Sorry, ukuthi unemali as well. So we must also add that little asterisk.
But
Kumnandi ukubonga abantu mawunemali. But yes, sorry, shout out to Somizi.
Yeah, no, shout out to Somizi nemali yakhe eningi.
But he also
hard worker that one.
I'm a huge fan of his, but he also waited long.
Yeah.
As much as he celebrated his mom in front of us, he could have lost his mom earlier.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble. Don't wait till you become a multi-millionaire.
Truth.
Let's find ways.
Fair. But no, he did embody the give my mother flowers while she's living to a point where Mesega Shonile, he wasn't too extravagant. Of course, Begui COVID. But he was like, I gave my mother flowers while she was living. So we really do have to press on that. Because abantu abamnyama, they deserve honor. I fully understand. I would love to show my dad how much of a king he is. Way more than what I can. Right now, I can just do it by kumtanda, kumnakekela, there and there, being protective. But
It's a lot,
I
by the
wish
way.
I could do a lot more.
No, but what you're doing, it's within amandla akho, and I'll tell you
Yeah,
that's
truth.
more than anything. Because lento ifisayo manje is now we're speaking debt.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Lento yenzayo
True.
is more than enough. You know, there's a reason why we'd speak about tithing 10%.
Yeah.
And that should be enough. Ukuthi I will tithe to the people I love. And this is amandla. Once I have more of amandla, which is why I'm making the example of Osomizi. Using him as an example, even though it's not fair, because I don't know his finances.
Sure.
Ungathola ukuthi what he spent on his mom is less than 10%.
Yeah.
So he could have done more because unemali eningi.
Fair.
When you maybe spend 20%, but because unokuncane kuba sengathi kuncane. But just
Fair.
do what you
Good
can,
point.
and that should be enough.
Okay. Fair.
Sorry,
Love
we
it.
distracted you.
Yeah, with
The cost of dying
the
on
cost
a
of
1 million
dying,
rand
the
estate.
first point was obviously the funeral. We covered that. Now we're
100,000.
coming to we're looking at plus minus 100,000. Okay, that's always covered by funeral cover, so we're not too stressed about that.
You're happy with funeral covers?
Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
discussed them. I understand them. It's just that I'm very happy with you saying then the funeral cover should, it's like the product producer should say, let me help you further. Let me also give you a lump sum of cash to take care
No
after
problem.
the funeral.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second cost is the actual issue here, which is estate administration, okay? I just
Please
wanna make
explain
notes.
that very as simply as you can to Inganena 10. What is estate administration? What is an estate?
Yeah. So an estate is what you have accumulated from the age of 18. As soon as you turn legal, everything you own is yours.
That's an
Before
estate.
18, it's your parents.
That's an estate.
Well, unless you're a trust fund baby. Yeah. An estate is what you own in your ID number. That's what your estate is.
This is what we call
cash,
assets, net
your
worth.
liabilities, exactly. Your net worth, your tangible assets, your movable assets, your assets or assets in favor of your estate, your debts as well.
Also fall
your
in there.
relationship with SARS. How you behave with SARS is a huge determining factor of whether your children inherit your estate or not.
Could I
by the
argue
way.
that this estate is your net worth? When we speak Forbes, billionaires, we're speaking estate.
They are estate.
So whatever you have, nkomishi, what, makuhlanganiswa, along neikweletu, and tax you owe, that is your estate.
We can say that, but it's very important to note that whatever is in a trust does not form part of your estate, your deceased estate. Because you have your estate is twofold. It's your living estate while you're accumulating, while you're alive, your shares, your cross-border assets. But once you die, there is a deceased estate, which is regulated by the Administration of Estates Act.
ID
Now,
number is what you emphasized.
ID number.
What's in your
is
ID number?
What you own with your ID number.
And a trust is not
your
that.
deceased. No, the trust, you no longer own the assets because you relinquish ownership to the trust.
Okay.
But it's still yours because you're the founder. So when you go on Forbes, they are listing your trust assets. But once you die, we can here in South Africa anyway. I won't speak about any other
places.
geographical
The trust
location.
is removed because it's not
The
yours.
trust, the pension, they don't form part of the estate. The life cover that nominates a beneficiary outside of the estate doesn't form part of the estate.
Pension plus life cover as well are no longer yours. with
Life cover
deceased.
that has nominated a beneficiary. If your life cover doesn't have a nominated beneficiary, it will form part of your estate.
Anything that you own
With your ID number.
that is meant to fall to someone else legally doesn't form part of, which would be a trust with other beneficiaries and then
trust
life
you've
cover with
you've
the
relinquished.
beneficiary.
Yes, trust you've
Okay.
relinquished ownership. Life cover where you nominate a beneficiary. Pension because of Section 37C of the Pension Fund Act. Some trustees decide what happens to your pension.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you. So estate administration, how to manage the assets that you've accumulated from the age of 18 plus that don't
Your
fall
financial
under
decisions.
legally belonging to
Those
someone else.
exclusions. Precisely.
Upon dying.
Upon
deceased.
dying.
Okay.
The Act says you have 14 days to go to the Master of the High Court to go report that so-and-so has died.
14?
14.
Not business days?
No, just 14 days.
Including
14
Saturday and
calendar
Sunday.
days, yeah. But no one follows those days, Pen.
Oh,
Because we have culture.
We know that.
There's people reporting estates of someone who died in the 90s still. The master's office doesn't stop you. But the Act did say, just come. I think it's just a cautionary, make sure you report this
But they
person's
cater
estate.
for it.
The 14 days?
No, I'm just saying they cater outside of 14. It's the law, but it's not like they turn your
It's
way.
impractical to enforce it.
Siyabonga. They must change it to something else.
They must change it to...
Whatever it is,
Yeah,
just because
whatever.
the law is not aligned to real life.
Yeah,
So they must
it's
find
not.
something
It's
somewhere.
not.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, we then go into what is called 10 steps of estate administration, as I've summarized them. I've written multiple articles about it. I've put the videos on TikTok. Okay. So, because people keep asking the same question. So,
do you want to go through them now, or must we
No.
just refer people to Mhlampe
I
your
want
TikTok?
them to go to the TikTok because
Gonna
there's a
take
lot
a
of
while.
educational videos. It's literally subjected 10 states of estate.
No, I'm just saying it's
10
going to
steps.
take a while to go through them now. Because angithi kumele singene kwezinye izinto.
Yeah, it's just that in one of those kwezinye izinto, it shows up there. So that's why I wanted to leave it. Let's leave it for now.
The 10 steps of estate administration.
Yes.
What's your TikTok handle?
Legacy Zibaya, Zola Mbatha.
At?
No, it's just Legacy Zibaya or Zola Mbatha. I don't know about at.
You don't know your handle?
Please, can we?
Oh, Zulu girls. Zulu girls, I'm full name of it. Social media 2025.
Legacy
What is your handle?
Zibaya, you type it on TikTok, it shows up. Okay, go find it. Tell me what my handle is.
We're here.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, but we can't be having you on platforms. Must be the handle.
Masengithi
Like
Legacy
my
Zibaya.
handle. He ain't gonna log. Your handle, yeah.
Handle yan manje.
baggy.
Drop.
Oh my goodness. This is so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
Oh, lawyer?
What was our internet?
Injalo-ke
No,
phela
please
internet.
continue.
Yeah, so
But
yeah.
I'll refer people to your TikTok handle after this.
Okay, perfect. So the that's what it is. 10 steps of estate administration. Now, when this estate is being administered, we are now talking about a community estate, right? This is a gogo's estate. Section ilumkhulu manje. Pen, from what I understand, I think it was somewhere in 2000 or before 2020. Here in Joburg, I'll use Soweto as an example. The municipality moved from the hands of the ANC to the hands of the DA,
Okay.
right? And the DA, to make up for the deficit, I think,
Okay.
in the municipal account, they increased the valuation of the properties so that when they collect rates and taxes, they collect it at the rate of a higher valued property. It happened across board a lot. Joburg was hit a lot and affected more by that from what I've seen in the appeals. Even the buildings in town, they increased the valuation so that they collect rates at a higher rate so that they can make up. Now, unfortunately, that might have solved the municipal bank account issue. But what it did was it took the family home property value from your average 500,000 to about $1 million. A random house in Soweto, I'll use Dobsonville, again, Messi Park. An average family home there is valued at 980,000 to 1.1 or 1,050,000. Elokshin.
I'm trying to think of whether I should say something here. A lot of people don't know. So we speak about investing in property and how property should appreciate the value.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not aware that the more valuable your property is, the higher the rates you pay. So it becomes a catch-22. And there are people that are aware of this. Who would say, your property is now worth more. But no. It's not worth more. Because they know the implications of rates.
Yeah.
Whereas other people get excited and then all of a sudden they don't understand why they're paying more.
Yeah.
So just to say, Guti, people must be aware that the higher the value of your property, the higher the rates you pay.
maintenance.
I've always heard, you guys will correct me if it's true, I've always heard that you can get a private person to come and check the property and then evaluate it. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Then you can go
bank-
to the municipality and say, look, this is not...
this value. Yeah,
okay.
you can. Because what's the point of increasing a 500,000 value property to 1 million? There's not going to be, doesn't mean you have a guaranteed buyer who's going to
no, it
come with
doesn't.
that
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
So all it does really, it benefits that rates collection at that point. Now, what
Property
this
values
has
went
done
up.
is, you'll remember, the first cost of dying is this 100,000 funeral. The second cost is the actual estate administration. The cost of it is 3.5% plus VAT. So we're talking about $1 million house here, right? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at the estate administration fee. This is the legal fee at plus minus 42,000. Okay? It's 42,000 for this family home.
Wait. Sorry, you're moving too fast for me.
Okay.
The cost of dying.
Yeah.
Can't touch a person's accounts until there's a death certificate and whatever is decided then. Cost of funeral. You spoke about the 10 steps of estate administration. Your TikTok handle, by the way, is Legacy Yezibaya. One
What did I
word,
say?
Legacy Yezibaya. No, I'm
What
just
did I
saying,
say? Okay, thank you.
just for people to, but I'll put in the comments as well.
Okay.
now that we've gone through that, you're like, okay, so now we've seen Ugogo Mkhulu have passed away.
Yeah.
We know some of these things.
Yeah.
And you're saying they left the house worth $1 million.
Yeah.
And
according to the municipal valuation.
Yeah, and you're saying, look, something happened somewhere where values were increased.
Sure.
Okay, that's number one. You're saying the cost of administering an estate for a deceased person is 3.5% of that value.
Of the value.
Plus VAT, which I think in South Africa is still 15%.
Hey, you'll never
It never went up, no?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, 15%. Even though bakhuphula ugesi, bakhuphula no petrol, kodwa the EFF and DA are not saying anything about that. Okay. Okay. 3.5% plus VAT. So if all they own was $1 million,
which is most of all they own is this property, which is the case most of the time.
Immediately, okay, first question, who administers the state? And then number two is, would they charge this 3.5% plus VAT on the 1 million valuation?
Yes. So the first answer is once an estate value exceeds 250,000, only an attorney or an accountant, a professional body can administer that estate, which means the 3.5% plus VAT kicks in. Once it exceeds 250,000.
Before it exceeds 250,000, does anyone administer the estate, or they're like, I need one?
If the estate value is below 250,000, the master's office will usually appoint the family members and on a letter called a letter of authority, and that letter will list the assets and their value to justify that they are below 250,000. But again, that same letter will then serve to guide that family member on how to distribute that estate. So there's no professional body involved.
A person's passed on, someone needs to administer the estate.
In 14 days, according to the
They must
Act,
go to the Master
of the High Court across the country.
Everyone in South Africa.
Everyone. As long as you're over the age of 18, your estate.
Who normally does this? For most people that are ignorant, is it the funeral parlors?
No.
Who goes to the Master of the High Court?
The family members, the people who are affected by the fact that they don't have access to the account. If they don't, they become that 10-year unadministered issue and fraud happens. Yes. Yes, owned by a deceased person.
You don't have any idea of what percentage of deceased estates deceased people have never had any representative going to the Master of the High Court.
I don't have an idea. I'll find it out.
Because that's where you speak about Home Affairs.
High.
For Home Affairs to say, these are the people that have died.
They're deceased, yes.
But there's no link to the Master of the High Court.
There's no master's
so we don't know if there were
number.
assets or anything at all.
Exactly.
But this is a legal thing.
Yeah.
So after 250,000, that's where a lawyer accountant is meant to come in.
Yes.
And say, look, we will take it to the Master of the High Court and then evaluate.
And follow these 10 steps.
And follow the 10 steps which are at Legacy Ezibai.
Ezibai, yeah.
Okay.
So you don't do it yourself. The professional does it on your behalf. The 10
As
steps.
a family member, no, you can't administer an estate, no.
You're
Because
not
you can
allowed
squander
legally.
it. No, legally you're not.
Over 250K.
Or over 250. Only if you are assisted by an attorney. You can be appointed as the executor.
Yeah.
But you can't be appointed as an executor without my fidelity fund certificate and me confirming to the master's office that I will be assisting or administering that estate. And thereby, the 3.5% plus VAT is triggered.
This happened to Bianca Naidu, I think that's her name, the partner Ricky Rick, where she was applying to be an executrix.
Yes, herself.
I'm not going to go into the details of the case, but so she wanted to be that.
Yeah,
she wanted to administer
it herself.
But she needed legal people
She
to
needs
give
an
her
attorney.
a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Hey, law is crazy. They like, this is law. We are creating a law so that lawyers can be employed and accountants. We created the law.
It's starting with your anger, but lawyers.
So now, the administration fee is then the 3.5%.
Yeah, across board. It's not, it's almost regulated.
Okay.
Through an act. There's no competition where the one attorney will charge 2.9. It's 3.5% plus VAT across board. The banks, capital legacy, fiduciary companies, attorneys, accountants, all of them is 3.5% plus VAT.
And it's of that 1 million. Eh?
So
we're still talking about Goko's 1 million.
The second
house,
question was, is it charged on the 1 million?
So it's charged.
Because you started going to an amount of 42,000. That's when I was like,
so 42,000 is the value of is the 3.5% plus VAT on a million.
Okay.
Estimated. We can calculate it now.
This money gets ring fenced.
It gets paid at the end of the 10 steps to the actual legal practitioner. It goes into their.
This is how much it's going to cost to administer this whole thing.
This
42,000.
That's cost number 2. The first cost is the funeral cost, nah?
Sure.
Okay. Now, the second cost is this 42,000. Now, this 42,000 is supposed to come from the estate. An estate pays its own costs. The issue here then becomes the fact that the estate itself doesn't have this money. That's where the problem. Khona nje indlu umkhulu usebenzile, Nkosi yami, his whole life he's done it for his family. He paid off the house where it's supposed to be paid off. If there were loans taken, he paid off the
rates
loans.
And taxes and everything are paid up.
Yeah, well, that's some of the privilege. In most instances in black communities, the rates and taxes are owing, guys. And they're averaging loyo 100,000 is kolot.
You're very right.
And the municipality is very fair. It's not kicking them out or suing them or selling these houses at execution. I mean, I know a while back there was a bank that, sold a house because of a 1,600 rand debt.
Yep.
Emerald van Sale is the Afrikaner gentleman on Twitter who's constantly fighting these battles. I tried to sit with him 2 years ago, but I think our schedules didn't allow. I just need to follow up with him because he fights a lot of banks that are screwing people over ridiculous things where sometimes you'll find the person has even overpaid for a debt, but isn't as gazi.
They're not stopping, because you keep quiet. Yeah, I mean, you carrying on, So that's the 42,000 average.
Is there a term for this 42,000?
It's called executor's fee.
It's called executor's fee.
Yes, executor's fee.
And the executor's fee, is it linked to a lawyer and accountant, or is it separate?
No, it's the same. It's one fee.
Oh, it's one fee.
It's called executor's fees because the executor
Okay.
administers the estate. Even if Gogo is the executor,
Yes.
but the attorney is the agent that's administering the estate, drafting the accounts and everything in these 10 steps. We should have actually just gone through the 10 steps instead of saving them
Understood.
for later. But it's fine.
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Using Ricky Rick's partner as an example,
Yeah.
is she entitled to this 3.5%?
No, she's not a professional body.
She can't get it, and then
That's why she's trying to
lawyer.
save it. No, not
So
at
even
all.
though she's the
Firstly,
executor,
a lawyer can't share fees with people that aren't lawyers. Hey?
okay,
Yeah, lawyers can't
So
share
even
fees.
if I'm assigned to be the executor, the executrix, I'm just managing, but I'm not going to get paid. It's still going to go to lawyers.
No. So what I think the lady is Bianca's her name?
Yeah, I
Did you
think
say
so.
Bianca?
So I'll confirm.
Okay,
but
no
carry on.
stress. What she's trying to do is to minimize the this 42,000. She doesn't want it to be paid to anyone. She's saying, I will be the executor. I have enough knowledge to administer this estate, follow these 10 steps without a professional
Bianca
assisting
Naidu.
me. Bianca Naidu. So therefore, when it comes to the point of executor's fees, I don't want it to be taken from the estate. I just want to inherit everything. That's what she's trying to do.
So let's say Ricky Rick left 10 million.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's the
This would be
problem.
420,000.
100%.
And because she's the executrix, she doesn't have to pay.
She doesn't have to pay it to a professional body, But she can't take it. She can't take the 420,000 from the estate as her fee because she's not a professional body.
Okay. You can't be paid yourself if
You
you're not
can't
a
as a
lawyer
family member. Yeah, if you're not.
Do you know if there's a conflict of interest if Mbatha and you as our Sisomdala are coming to administer the estate of our grandparent?
Yeah.
You can still charge a fee, even though it's your family member.
Me personally,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't. I'd ask the master's office for permission to write it off.
No, not you as Zola.
Yeah.
As a lawyer who's related to the deceased. You
That's
can
what
still
a lot
charge.
of people do as well.
You can charge.
You can charge, but
Okay.
people also want to do that. There's a lot of lawyers in a lot of families. And the fact that ngoba bazwani, they take the estate to another lawyer. In some instances, that lawyer is part of the heirs.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting for the estate, so they don't want that amount of power to fall in the hands of that lawyer. So they'll take the estate and give it to another lawyer and pay that 420,000 if it's a 10 million rand estate, rather than keep the 420,000 in the family. And that's the price of dispute,
Sometimes that's the price of peace.
Yeah.
So
You
does
call
that,
it the price of dispute, you call it the price of peace.
so does that also mean that for some people have to sell off an asset to pay that 3.5%?
When an estate is cashless, it's called a cash shortfall estate.
Okay.
An estate that has more tangible assets than it does cash, but yet it's got expenses and debt. Then yes, you must liquidate one of the assets, sell it so that you can have enough money to pay the debt and these fees.
Ow.
But now in a family home estate that only has the family home, you can't sell the family home. And this is why the banks are relinquishing those estates, because we can't sell a family home to pay 42,000. Kusho ukuthi uyasebenza lo bhuti okhuluma ngaye who's speaking out and whatnot against the behavior of banks. So now, but then we stuck where the estate is not being administered. And then it goes to that 10-year example and the fraud happens.
Yeah.
So let's carry on with the expenses so that whenever the help that you spoke of at the beginning comes, they technically know what are these steps and what are these expenses. So we now understand what this 42,000 executor's fee is, right? Okay, that's cost number one. Cost number two, the master's office itself has a fee. It ranges from 600 Rand from an estate that's valued at 250,000 plus 1 Rand. And then it goes up on a sliding scale and a formula-based cost, and maximum is 7,000. So your 10 million Rand estate will pay 7,000.
Your 10 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas your 500,000 estate will pay 600,000. 600 Rand only to the master's office. So in this instance, because it's a million Rand estate, let's say plus minus 1,000 Rand master's office fee, okay? Okay, so we've got that 1,000. Those are and then in these 10 steps, there are adverts, right? So those adverts, there's 2 adverts. So they're averaging about 1,000 Rand, 500 Rand an advert, okay?
1,000 Rand for 2 ads.
For 2 ads, 500 Rand per advert.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And then we've got your tax practitioner.
Sorry, before you go to tax practitioner, people don't know what adverts mean.
So that's why I'm saying let's quickly go through the 10 steps of estate administration. Because
Are
now
we
I'm
not
tearing
going
it
through some of them
apart.
now?
Yeah, because
Is it not going to take long?
No, I'll run through it quickly.
Because I know we're supposed to go through a whole lot of stuff. We're almost at an hour.
Oh, already?
And I don't know if we're going to get to the DMs.
No, we must. Even if you touch.
I hear you. I don't know if we're going to get. I'm being honest.
Oh, because you have so much more questions?
No, because we're still here. Xamele's kulume customary marriage. And then Xamele's kulume the family trust.
Yeah, I think let's shoot for 5 hours.
Let's leave No, I'm not going to talk for 5 hours. You and I, we touched customary marriage when we spoke about.
We can do the DMs another time. It doesn't have to be today. But I just want you to be comfortable. And I want to make sure whatever we're covering, we're happy.
Yeah.
Because just because the episode is 1.5, 2 hours, but at least stelile.
Yeah.
And then masisihleli lama DMs ongithumele wona ngafundile. And the DMs on their own, in my opinion, could take 3 hours. They could. If we actually give them the attention they deserve.
The DMs are about 2 hours. Yeah. If you go over just the ones I gave you.
Just the ones you gave me, because they're like 6 of them. But when you read them.
I can't answer the same question over and over again. So the DMs are so much more important to me than recognition of customary marriage, because I'll be able to send those videos out and let them find the answer there. I cannot take this amount of calls daily to be asked the same thing over and over. That's why I gave you those DMs. And on top of that, I told those people in the DMs that I'll be talking to them about it today so that they have those videos. So I will now have to give them calls personally. And that's like 3 hours only. 3 hours. And then I'll have to sit another 3 hours with more.
Customary marriage is not linked to lento soyikhuluma namhlanje,
no,
is it?
Singayishi customary marriage.
It's separate.
Customary marriage, we touched it when we had the family meeting with Nhlanhla, because I was just talking about how many invalid civil marriages are sitting in people's wardrobes, because once umuntu selobolile, they are married to that person. But then they leave that marriage, bahambayo shata, civil, to someone else. And those marriages are now invalid.
Okay, that's going to need its own episode.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
then
so
I'll
we're not
bring
going
the
to discuss
examples.
customary marriages today.
We can leave it.
The family trust.
You and I touched on it in Chan. I know a lot of comments, people were saying, please, can you bring her back to talk about trust? So we can have that conversation
that is the work
another
you do.
day. That's the work I do.
And you
I
get paid
register
for.
family trusts.
And you get paid for.
Remember I said to you, I generally don't get paid for fiduciary services right now, and because I focus on compliance. But however, how it's playing out is I'm gonna be building legacy ezibai in all forms. And yes, the low-hanging fruits and the bread and butter for legacy ezibai is family trust.
So when we touch on that, we can do it. We'll call it a commercial podcast where we're like, this is the service I offer.
Yes.
This is the history of it. This is the work I do.
Yes.
You don't have to mention amounts because amounts could change.
Yeah,
But we'll just say,
do.
I charge for this, I charge for this. And then we'll say, currently, this is how much this costs, this is how much this
I'm
costs.
happy to do that, yeah.
And everyone can holler at me. I can help you set up a family trust to avoid XYZ.
Yeah.
So
100.
those customary marriage and family trust we can leave for
We
today.
can leave that.
We're gonna wrap this
up
up
with the costs.
and then do as many DMs as possible.
Please. Yes.
No problem.
Thank you.
Adverts, and then you said 2 adverts at 500 Rand each.
Yeah, so that's
1,000
about
Rand.
1,000.
And then I asked, what are the adverts? And you said, you know what?
Let's just do the 10 steps quickly. Yeah. Okay. So here's what happens. When a person dies in those 14 days, the following 10 steps must be followed. Step number 1, the estate must be reported to the master of the High Court. Every provincial jurisdiction has a master's office. Pretoria has a master's office. Joburg has a master's office. Durban has a master's office. Pietermaritzburg has a master's office. Cape Town has a master's. Newcastle.
Come on.
Let's bring that Newcastle in. Limpopo, Polokwane, there is a master's office. Where there's a high court, there is a master of the High Court. Master's office stands for Master of the High Court.
I don't know if Newcastle has a high court, but anyways, sorry.
It's got a master's office.
I just wanted to slip it in there. Dang, Newcastle.
And then when you report this matter, depending on the value of the house, if it's of the estate, if it's below 250, you can do it on your own as a family member. The master will allow you. Once it's above 250, you need an attorney to do the submission. Step number 1. Once it involves an attorney, it then starts rolling into these 10 steps.
Oh, so step number 1, uqina khona if it's under 250.
Yeah, uqina khona
you don't
if
have
it's
to worry
under
about
50.
the other
There's
steps.
no other steps.
Okay,
you get the letter, you go. Step number 2, you advertise the estate. This is called a Section 29 advert, notice to creditor. Notice to creditors. This advert serves to notify every creditor in South Africa that so-and-so has died. Did they owe you anything? Edgar's, Woolworths, everything. And those people are reading those newspapers. It's published every Friday. So if you owe, they will contact the master's office to tell them that this person who has died owes me such and such. That's advert number 1. And this is where if you married incognito property, by the way, Penuel, you might end up passing away when ungenasi skoloto. But if you married to a woman who has debt, this is where the debt comes in. Your wife's debt starts coming after your estate.
Not doing that to myself.
You're not what? Getting married or you're not getting married incognito property?
Kokubili nje kunenkinga ne-stress and kunomuntu wesifazane phakathi so nje stress times
Please go to okay, but rights for ingane, but not for
too
shad.
much.
Yes, you can separate the two.
By whose choice? Asingayilapha. He said the choice is yours, Penuel.
Advert 1, notice to creditors. Advert 1, notice to creditors.
And then step number 3, you apply to SARS for a tax clearance certificate. You cannot finalize an estate without SARS giving the go-ahead.
Sorry.
SARS is a preferred creditor.
The other advert comes later.
Yeah, the advert comes at the
Okay, so
end.
step 2, notice to creditors. This is something that the attorney does.
This is
So as the individual, you don't have to deal with it. Attorneys know where to go, know how to advertise.
They have relationships with the newspaper. It's advertised in the newspaper and in the government gazette.
Okay, no
problem.
Yeah.
Step number 3, tax clearance. This is where the attorney will hire a tax practitioner to start applying. First, you code at SARS, you tell SARS that this is no longer an income tax number. It's now a deceased person. So they convert it to a deceased tax number. Number 1. Number 2, SARS will let you know what is the last tax assessment that deceased person did. If they're owing in the year that they died, that tax assessment must be done. Whether that tax assessment produces credit or a liability, it will be dealt with in the estate. Okay. And then lastly, once the final tax assessment has been done, SARS will then issue the tax clearance certificate.
Do you have any idea on average how long that takes?
Each time you communicate with SARS, they take 21 days. So SARS is one of the longest stakeholders in estate administration.
One of the longest?
Yeah. Remember, estate administration right now is taking an average minimum 18 months to administer. So this family is going 18 months without this deceased bank account access. 18 months. So that's why those funeral covers must cater for not just the week after the funeral, for 18 months. This is why it's important to have a life cover.
You can't report that bank account, bro. You'll struggle. They rather keep using the money. 18 months.
Yeah,
no act. And you said even in community of property, you're married, you're not supposed to touch that.
You're not,
joint
but the
account.
banks have started being obviously feeling bad for the surviving spouse, really. So they just take the value at date of your husband's death and then you can carry on using your accounts. Before, they used to freeze everything. Zonke bonke. Okay,
thank you.
Then we move on to step number 4, which also is one of the steps that takes the longest because it's called asset collection. This is where you close the bank accounts, you pay them in what is called an estate-led account. You take the policies that pay to the estate, you pay it into this bank account. If the heirs choose to sell the shares, you sell them at that stage, you put it in the bank account. If the heirs choose to sell the house, by the way, because bonke sebenemizi yabo and begumuzi wamkhulu and no one's going to stay there, you do it while it's in the step number 4. It's called asset collection.
Yazi, she's speaking about this like if the heirs agree, kabang ingane zu 7, they all need to be told umkhulu had shares. Ugogo had 4 properties. Samele bavume, baphikisana. Hey, kodwa mina ngicabanga ukuthi
what if eplazini? Yeah,
this could take very long.
If you have a family that doesn't get along, it takes way more than 2 years. It takes years. There's estates that are open for 10 years.
I want to ask us...
and you get stuck at that step.
You're stuck there.
I want to ask
go to step 5, 6.
A sneaky question, and I don't think you're going to be honest with me, but I'll ask it nonetheless.
Buza, ntwana yam. Ask it as honestly as possible.
Do lawyers have shortcuts to the step?
Not necessarily a shortcut. You have to follow every process, and it's an auditable process. There's no shortcut. There's
heirs that are fighting and what, and things need to be wrapped up.
Unfortunately, there are some lawyers. One of the biggest issues people have with lawyers is in the estate space because you're relinquishing whatever your father was doing to some lawyer you don't know. And so they need to behave in a certain way. I mean, how I was introduced to estate administration lawyer was when Umamnganwamus Bosch Lagosh was her name. She passed away giving birth to my little cousin, Owetu. Thank you, my mom's little sister. But she gave us a great gift, a little baby girl called Owetu Snetla Nkosi. So we're blessed, we'll take that. Yeah. But what I do remember is my grandmother coming home crying after umamncane shonile because the lawyer, firstly, and my mom still talks about it till today, cabang. The lawyer put like documents in front of them, boom. The documents said, estate late Sibongile Nkosi. So, yabo, it affected them in a bad way to watch ngomntana because beka last born mamncane, ebizwa estate late. You know, even one of my clients said to me the other time, I get so affected by seeing my husband's name, being called estate late. It affects people. And so that was the first thing. And then Ukoko was crying because the lawyer was giving them imali for ukudla. She went to go cry there and say, Usnenhlanhla owe umntana lo akanalubisi because angithi umamncane ushone giving birth to her. Yeah. And the lawyer was like, I'll see what I can do, takes out some check, writes an advance. I would assume now that I'm obviously in the profession, I understand it to be what is called an advance. Yeah. This is when you advance some money from the estate to the family because by idinga.
Yes, but you'll recoup it later.
Yeah, no, you don't recoup it. You'll explain to the master's office why you had to give them 100 Rand because they needed to go buy bread.
But where will this money come from?
From the estate. It's the bank account money that's gone into the estate account. Okay. No, the lawyer won't recoup that money.
It's not his money.
It's not his money.
It's from the estate.
It's the heirs' money, yes. No, and you can only advance whoever was going to inherit.
Okay.
Back to the first point, I just wanted to ask, would this be something you suggest to the legal fraternity because you've got personal experience to say, look, let's have a conversation about the wording that we use because it's actually harming people. Yeah. We can still have it smaller font in the footnote somewhere else. Let's rather maybe put the deceased name or our beloved, whatever.
Because we are aware it's an estate. Dignity. Yeah. Okay. Take out the words estate late. Too many people are crying about it. It may seem like such a small thing to process drivers. Yeah. But to the people who are going through the receipt of that process, it's harming them to just see this estate late word. Now, ugogo nje ngiyakhumbula ukuthi benoma bakhalisa ukuthi this guy was just deciding willy-nilly. Okay, ayisekho le mali but nginganzama. It's like he owned imali yamamncane, Until today, I've never seen closing documents for that estate. At all. I also know that at the master's office for Imalias Ne, there was some Bushiri follower who said to my granny and my mother, we will give you Imali Umtana monthly if we take 10% of that. And it pissed me off. How do you take money from the people who are suffering already because they lost a child? And then on top of that, there's a baby here that was born and must grow until I get to school. And do you think you can take 10% of monthly payments? So that's where the corruption.
Why is it catching straight bullets?
Because she would say she's taking that money to go donate it to Bushiri. Some nonsense. I call that nonsense. So your question, and you said, will I answer it honestly, is exactly that. The biggest bad behavior of lawyers is in the estate space because the owner of the money is deceased. And they're seeing the beneficiaries and heirs as weak or vulnerable, if I can use that word.
And you'd say some lawyers call him Alabai.
Abanye bayadla the whole estate. Recently, a lawyer who was disbarred as an attorney because uthathe the whole 4 million of the estate. All of it. Spent all of it. All of it. He just took all of the money.
So it's a man?
It's a male, yeah.
Okay. No, there was a woman I saw who was chowing money somewhere else.
They chow this money because they just don't understand why they must give it to these unknowing people, especially if you're unknowing. Abantwana babelungu, Pen, I'm telling you now, they are aware what's going on in their parents' estate. From the moment they come to you with the original will and all the key documents and this very in order file, they say, this is what my dad had, these are the properties, these are the valuations, please administer this estate, give us an update every month. They know what they're doing. Abantu abamnyama, what is it? What do you want from us? A death certificate? Okay, 9. Then they give originals and then they just wait.
But it's because the white family, and this is what I'm trying to do with my family, is that I'm assuming the white family, the dad said to those kids. I'm assuming. This thing is not a secret. A will is a secret in the black community.
Yeah, it is.
They don't even want to talk about it.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it.
Lawyer. I remember speaking to one of my family members. I can't say them because they're like, it all keep busy in the set. Ringa na ngithi mfethu enhle kwana uplaneni nge-staff sakho khambani. Ungabari ntwana izinto zami zisebank. Okay, all right, I must step back. So this thing of secrecy is a big thing. So the white family knows, our dad said with us, everything that we was accumulating, maybe we'll have a meeting once a year, I don't know when, but we know every single detail. Where's Tina? When the person passes away, it's like you're discovering that this person actually had other things. You're like, wait, I didn't know you had this, had this.
Yeah,
so that's
bad.
Why it's
It's bad, yeah. It's also the promiscuous behavior of black men. They're busy having children everywhere outside of their marriage, and they're finding it very important to hide those children. So a widow is not only dealing with losing her man, she's now dealing with being a stepmom to all these children that show up. That's why they're hiding their things. Because abafuna ukwenza will, I've spoken to them, remember? I consult.
Sure.
Abafuna ukwenza will, what I say, if you don't do a will, interstate will take over and your estate will be spread out. If your baby mama or your children that you have outside of your marriage are under the age of 18, that gives your side chicks so much power over your wives. And they're saying, if I do a will, I have to choose. Because if my wife sees I wrote these kids in this will, they would rather the whole family disintegrates after they die than to protect the family structure.
Don't you think
that's what I see.
That's not what it is. They would, yes, rather have trauma se be feel than be pina.
But it disintegrates their family.
I agree. I think this becomes a point for any men's conference to say men need to have a conversation about extramarital affairs and how they affect their finances present and after they've died. Because even present, konaban beslisa, they run debit orders, but tumeli imali. Any imali, if ever the woman is smart, the amounts never add up with why we can't afford to send our kids here, why it doesn't make sense. And it's because this guy is not saying, when Ukinusu, I think he's got a gambling problem. It's not a gambling problem. It's a children outside there problem that he's not telling you.
Yeah.
And it's going to become your problem
once
after he passes,
died.
number one. And number two, even worse for a woman that's married to him in community of property. Because whatever wealth she has now becomes part of the problem for his kids that she didn't even know about.
100%. And also there's that Section 37C of the pension fund. The amounts that are going out and she's not seeing, those are proof of dependency that he's giving to other women. And they come after his pension. Once they have died.
The proof of dependency, we're speaking children, not even if there's no children.
If there's no children,
if you're paying a girlfriend allowance,
5,000 every month.
E-wallet. Your e-wallets
that you keep sending to girls.
Yeah, they send them to the trustees and say, he's been taking care of me. Yeah, now that he's gone. And then she gets a large sum of his pension. If she has a child younger than his own biological children, which is most of the case, by the way, because you cheat after you've finished building your family. If the children of the side chick are younger than his biological children, the side chick's kids get a larger share of his pension than his own biological children. I did a video on Section 37 on TikTok. This one woman said, after my man died, I had to quit my job to get a pension to send our child to varsity because all his pension went to his side chicks and his side chicks' kids. Whether they're biologically his or not didn't matter because the legal dependence is he was paying school fees for the side chick's child. But that's a topic for another day.
You're not the stepfather, you're the father that stepped up.
Yes. Yeah,
now that child is dependent on. So yeah, for men's conferences and men's groups, this is a conversation you need to have. Forget women. You can feel like
it's for the protection of the wife that I speak
forget how you feel
it.
about women, forget how you feel about your wife, but this is important for yourself, your peace, and your children afterwards. Which, like I say, these pub decisions you're making, your girlfriend allowances, le malo itumela, yes, ufihlihlazo, usabutu zothakathwa, khona uzobulawa, yes, sure, but bafowethu, we're dealing with this because even at our age, some of us are those children.
Yeah.
Whether we're the children from marriage or the children from outside, or my mom was jollering this guy, got them tumeli mali, and we're dealing with it. And if we can't speak about it, whatever mess we have, we're gonna then pass down to our children and 100%. Our families, and we need to find a solution for
100%.
it.
Right. So to finish off quickly,
asset
don't
collection,
ask me.
step 4.
After you finish with the asset collection, I'm going to go over the remaining steps. This is why you need the professional. You then draft what is called a liquidation and distribution account, which summarizes a person's estate, his tangible assets, his claims in favor of his estate, his shares. And then second page are his liabilities, what they are. And then third page is what is available for distribution once you take the assets and minus the liabilities.
Okay.
And
this is still under step 4.
This is step 5.
This is step 5.
Sorry, this is now step 5, yes.
The drafting of a liquidation and distribution
account.
Okay,
summarizes the deceased estate, who he was married to, while he was living, where was he living. All of it is in this document. The document is now examined. We move on to step number 6. This document is lodged with the Master of the High Court, and it is examined against the will, if there was a will, against interstate succession, if there wasn't a will, against the whole administration of Estates Act. Is it compliant? Yes. Then the Master approves it, which is step number 7. The approval.
Sorry, before you go to step number 7, you either have a will.
Yeah.
Or it goes to interstate. Interstate is where the courts or the master formula decides for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
so
formula in the Interstate Act decides for you. The master must implement it. The master doesn't do anything but implement the
formula.
Yeah.
I hope this is not going to be a difficult question. And if it is, we can move past it.
Sure.
In your personal opinion, do you think wills are more fair than interstate, or interstate is more fair than the will?
No, the will.
I want to ask that as well. Which one is better?
The will is way more fair because you can do in the will what is dictated in interstate, but interstate won't represent what you could have put in the will.
Isn't
the
interstate
will is way
more fair because it's unemotional, objective? When you might ngithanda lo sisi more or le ngane, interstate is like, this is what's fair.
Interstate is benefiting that man who has children all over outside of his marriage and wants all of them to inherit without him having to choose his kids. But will allows you to choose who represents your estate. If your family is fighting, your estate can get stuck at step number 1, where no executor is being appointed because bonke bafuna ukuba ma executors. You must represent your estate. You built it. You can't expect someone who wrote that you don't know represent what you've built because wena usabu ukuba straightforward as a man. If you can't present being straightforward as a male, then sokwenze njani ngophela ufuna ukulida abantu.
Interstate is more fair if your life is messy. A will is better if you're more intentional about your life.
Can I ask you something just quickly? Everything we asked has a lot
just
of
quickly.
components. Sorry.
Collect.
Where's the best place to do a will? Because I always hear people, don't do it with the bank. The banks are da-da-da.
I love your question.
What is the best way to do a will? Do you write it, put it under the bed, you die, they take it out?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
Well, look, the reason the banks are so popular with the whole will thing is they've driven, as long as you have a bank account, they will come for you, tell you it's free. That's the advantage of doing your wills with the banks. It's free. But the banks currently, the atmosphere of estate administration isn't great. If you go on Hello Peter, the complaints are ridiculous.
Okay.
There's no personal feel to that estate. It's just estate administration for the sake of the book.
Okay.
So that's where the problem. So the will is free and easy, but the estate administration is not so So
Okay.
free and easy.
Sharp.
Whereas the wills you do with an attorney who might charge you a fee, I think it's currently 500 Rand. It's definitely compliant with the Wills Act, and the bank doesn't have to be an executor. And the other thing, the reason the bank the will is free with the bank is because the banks are appointing themselves as executors. So you can do the will with the bank if you want to do a free will, but then you insist that your child be appointed as a co-executor with the bank.
So when you do a will with the
so they can
bank,
hold the bank accountable.
so are you saying that by default, when you do a will with the bank,
The
they
bank
are
is
an
the
executor?
100%.
Unless you say, ew.
That's why it's free. That's the whole operating model of it.
That's how they're going to make their money back.
Yeah, they make their money back later when they administer your estate. They forfeit 500 Rand today, they get 420,000 later.
Okay, so you're saying the best one is with the lawyer? You were explaining that?
So I was saying, if you don't have money, you can do the will with the bank, and then you can put your family member as a co-executor. Option number one. You
can or you should.
You should.
That's your advice.
Thank you for clarifying. You should. If you're going to do your will with the bank, insist on having a co-executor.
Okay, sharp.
Second is every September in South Africa is Free Wills Month. From 1 September until end of September. Free wills. The Master of the High Court drafts wills for free. You can appoint anyone as executor there. The lawyers, if you go onto the Legal Practitioners Council website, you'll see a list of lawyers that do wills for free in September. You can go and do your will there and appoint anyone as executor. But always do it with an attorney, because you must grow a relationship with your attorney while you're living, so that when you're dead, your attorney represents your wishes to the T. So that's where you work with the attorney, and you can either appoint that attorney as executor and your family member as a co-executor, or only appoint your family member. But remember, when it comes to estate administration time, that attorney is going to be needed, because your family member can't administer. Yeah.
I just want to add this, and this is one of the sad things about African/Black people.
Yeah.
Many of us are friends with lawyers and accountants, but we don't trust each other. Because the lawyer is actually meant to be your mate, and the accountant is meant, but we'd rather go get Ungamla somewhere, India somewhere, that is not connected to us, because we feel they're more professional.
Our privacy and more professional, yeah. And also, Labo Mangamla, they use each other. They don't pay for estate costs, over and above the fact that they cater for those costs anyway. Okay. Right. So step number 7 is the approval of the liquidation and distribution account by the Master of the High Court, And step number 8 is the advertisement of this account. Section 35 adverts.
Section 35 adverts.
Yeah, we
advertisement of
the account, the liquidation and distribution account. Now, the purpose of this advert.
This one is problematic.
The purpose of this advert is if, when you're reporting the estate, you hid some children, they can come. And by the way, just to add to the question you asked earlier, even if Ubaba only puts his favorite children on the will, the children that are not chosen can still claim maintenance against his estate. So if you hide them, they can show up at step number 8 and say, wait, don't finish estate, Baba. I'm Zola. I was left out. I have a maintenance claim. This is proof that he took care of me. I want to claim from his estate. And that's where SARS will come in if you didn't do your taxes and stop the estate. So that's why it's important to follow every step before you get to advertisement of the account. And then step number 9.
This gets advertised where?
The local newspaper and in the government gazette.
Where they're going to see my money.
They're going to see that your account is laying for inspection, and they're going to say which office. Anyone can walk and read it. Anyone can go through. You can go look at the liquidation and distribution account of Nelson Mandela. It includes everything.
Oh, while it's a public.
These are the things that...
that is the point of it.
So these are my timers that keep buying newspapers, and Tina, we think they're looking at sports results.
But
this notice of creditors and this advertisement of LNG.
Which estates am I benefiting from?
But why do you make it public?
The people's details won't be in the newspaper. The newspaper will tell you where the actual account is lying for inspection, which is usually at the master's office or the local magistrate's court. It'll give a name. It'll say... I don't like using people's names as examples. It'll say John Doe has died.
Okay.
His account is now ready for inspection. It is laying for inspection at the Master of the High Court, 66 Marshall Street, Johannesburg, 2010. Go and read it.
Anyone can go.
Anyone.
Nah, impilo yami la iyakhona. Nah, lasodla khona imali la.
Uhambe uyofunda indaba zabantu.
So ufuna indaba zabantu ukuthi imali yabo soyithola phi ngoba uJohn Doe ngiyamazi umfazi wakhe uDoe ukuthi
uzo inherit 100.
Awuthi ngisondele
100. That's true.
Okay. All right.
Step number 9 is the actual distribution. What does the distribution entail? Transfer of the movable property as well as the last cost, which most family homes or the beneficiaries of family homes can't afford, which is called property transfer costs.
Hey.
So remember that 1 million rand house?
Yeah.
A lot of people keep confusing transfer duty and transfer costs.
Emma, wait, you have to pause right there. Because now I'm learning something I've never learned before. Because I keep asking questions. And every time I speak about property, because I found it's like properties under this amount don't attract. But then people still pay something. And I'm like,
yeah, a lot of people confuse that.
The difference
I saw that
between
with the
transfer
comments.
duties and transfer costs when it comes to property.
Yes. So in a deceased estate, you don't pay transfer duty at all. You inherit the property free from tax because transfer duty is the tax element of dealing with the property.
Yes.
Transfer duty is paid to SARS based on the value of the property when you are buying a property. In other words, you're about to take ownership of a property, so you must pay SARS for that privilege.
Okay.
And it's a scalable, it's counted based on the value of the property. Now, not recently, like a few years ago, it was published that if a property, a immovable property, a house or a farm, is below the value of 1 million rand, you don't pay transfer duty. You don't pay SARS for that privilege of owning a property below 1 million rand.
That's what I know.
Yes,
Okay.
but you still pay transfer costs because the attorney must transfer the property to
From
you.
one person to
and
the
you must
other.
pay the attorney. They're not going to do it for free just because you're not paying SARS.
Transfer costs are fees.
Are legal fees.
To
Are
the
legal fees to a
attorney.
lawyer.
For the lawyer who is transferring the property. That lawyer is called the conveyancing attorney.
Yes. And then transfer duty is
Paid
related to SARS.
based on the value of the property.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's a deceased estate, you don't pay transfer duty. If it's valued below 1 million, you don't pay transfer duty, but you pay transfer costs.
If you're paying transfer duties, you still have to pay transfer costs as well.
Yes.
It's two different
if
players.
you're buying,
SARS, lawyer.
Yeah, SARS lawyer. If you're buying a house
Right.
valued at over 1 million rand, you will pay the transfer duty.
Back to step number 9, because
So
ngifuna ukuya kule L&D account. You
Step
spoke
number
about
9.
transfer.
Sesiqedile nge-L&D. Step number 9 is the actual inheritance, distribution of the
No,
estate.
before we distribute, because thina sifuna
Uyaku
ukhanda
John
imali.
Doe baba. Bama-advertising uJohn Doe baba. Sifuna inyuku.
Which step deals with auctioning the deceased assets?
Step 4.
Asset collection.
Yeah.
Or you said share sales policies.
Yeah, house sale, everything.
Ama auctions are here.
Yes.
So lama khehla khohlakele engiwaziyo mina personally.
Yeah.
They'll know notice to creditors ukuthi sekushonile lokwenje.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there where do they go to find out about auctions? Is that a completely different?
It's a completely different process
They
if
wouldn't-
the estate is selling. And anyway,
So you can't
estate
follow it to
adminis-
shonile. Ngiyazi advertise
So
auction.
in the Section 29 advert, the details of the lawyer are there. You can call
so then
the
you
lawyer.
contact the lawyer.
But
Just
if
say,
you
"Hey,
call the
there's a
lawyer,
guy
you're
here."
asking for information, they have to do a quick due diligence. If you're not an interested party, they're not going to share those details with you. You'll see them at L&D stage when you're inspecting the L&D.
Oh, okay.
They're not going to give you updates. You're not an A. And that's what banks do. If you have written a will and you've excluded your child, when that child goes to the bank for an update, they look through the will. Oh, sorry, you're not on the will. Unless you bring a court application to be maintained. So random person cannot just call the number that's available on the advert
So the
to
stuff
find
gets
out.
auctioned along with all
But
other
if you want to
auctions.
buy, you can say to the attorney, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I saw that so-and-so passed away. I know there's a house I really want. I wanted to find out from you, is it going to be sold at all during this estate? If the answer is yes, can you please take note that I want to be a buyer of that property?"
Bona no ke mo re tloshang. Penzo.
Yanki step 2 and 4.
Sithole loophole intwana yami.
Wait.
Phakathi ntwana.
And then,
249.
so on this 1 million rand property, guys,
Yeah.
this is important now. The transfer cost for the property is also on the value of the property. And it's currently at 1 million rand property averaging 40,000. So an average
40,000
goal
in transfer costs.
40,000 of transfer costs.
That's 4%.
Here. Yes. That's like the fair percentage. Some go up to 5. And then the other cost is rates clearance certificate.
Yeah.
Okay? If the family home is owing 100,000, which is the average right now on debt, municipal debt in family homes, the estate has to pay that 100,000 debt and the rates for 3 months in advance while the property is being transferred. So we're looking at plus minus 100,000 here.
Huh?
Okay? Yes, Pelama rates.
Oh, no,
Ama
rates.
rates
Not
clearance.
the clearance certificate.
It is. To get a clearance certificate, you don't pay for the certificate. You clear your
Is the
debt.
certificate free?
The certificate is free. You get it because
But
you
you
don't
must
have
clear the
debt.
debt first.
But you must clear the
Yeah,
debt.
I just want to make sure because abantu bazwe certificate but says 100,000. No.
It's
Certificate mahala.
koloto sakho. Some people only owe 7,000 rand.
Okay.
Okay, some people only owe 2,000 rand. Some mkhulu khona abanye mkhulu who take pride in keeping their water and electricity bills clean.
Okay.
So it depends on the financial behavior of the deceased and the owner, how bad the cost of rates clearance is. But right now the average is 100,000, unfortunately, in most black family homes. Right, so for R1 million estate that only has one house in it, ugogo is a pensioner. She doesn't have an income. None of her children are going to be helping because they're not inheriting this round. They're only going to inherit when gogo dies. She's looking at 42,000, 40,000.
Wait, let's go through it. Sorry, 42,000 is
Executors fees.
Executors fee.
1,000 adverts.
1,000 for adverts.
1,000 master's fee.
1,000 master's fee.
SARS, if you owe SARS, that's another debt we're not even going to try and factor in right now. But
So
your
0.
average tax practitioner right now is costing about 2,000 rand.
Just
To help you, to go find
sort
out.
it out.
Yeah.
But I'll call it loot or just
Yeah,
for
to get the
services.
certificate.
So 0 plus, you said 2,000
From 0 to 2,000, yeah.
tax practitioner.
Okay. Then we've got the 40,000 transfer costs.
Okay.
And then we've got this rates clearance.
Which you're saying on average is
In
100K.
average family homes right now, they are, if you look at the municipal statement, whenever they're reporting the estate, there's about 60 to 70, 100,000 debt.
So this is meant to be 0. But
It's supposed to be
because of what
zero.
we're seeing out there
Because
in the
of
world,
the
we're putting
debt.
it at 100,000.
Yes, we're putting it at, it's an exceptional cost. As ama-estate abelungu awanayo le nkinga le 100,000 in the rates clearance space. They have all the other costs. Now, we're calculating now. What is this gogo supposed to come up with? So, I'm a lawyer. I'm not good with maths. Do you want to do the calculation? You're the maths, you're the number person.
184.
Okay.
184,000 is the total.
If you
that we
don't
have.
count the...
No,
Yes,
sorry,
if-
186. I'm sorry. 186,000.
Even if you count. Remember, there's 40,000 executives fees and 40,000 transfer costs. That's 80,000
82.
already. And then the 282 plus minus the tax, that's 84,000. Then this 100,000. Yeah, so 184,000.
186. The tax practitioner, we bali.
Tax practitioner.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 186,000.
Yeah. So tell me, ugogo holy pension ya 1,000 a month, uzothatha 186,000.
What's this? 814. 814,000
Yeah.
left of our R1 million property, which means if you can't cough out the money, so many
When you
days.
sell that house, then you're going to take the change and then maybe go buy yourself another home with that. But most people don't want to go for that option. They just remain in the family home unadministered. Then they lose it later due to fraud. That's what's going on. This is basically the problem.
I'm trying to figure out, there are homes lapha eKasi where umagogo passes away and they were staying with like the grandchildren.
Yeah.
You know, and the parents stay in urban areas or they're
Yeah.
married and whatnot. The Magogo like this is a case that happened like 6 months ago, man.
Sure.
Magogo passes away, and within 3 months, the passing of Magogo, the house was sold, and the kids shared the money and they sold the house.
Yeah.
Kunyat.
I'm trying to figure out how did they go through those 10 steps in that 2 months?
They didn't.
They did it.
They didn't.
Or what?
They
What?
bribed-
Or
they bribed someone.
Yes, at the deeds office.
And the
Pela,
house
because
was
the
sold
transfer.
by Ugogo.
No, Gogo's
Ofile.
gone. Yeah, yes. And,
The
and,
house
and
was sold by Ugogo.
yeah, and Gogo signed the documents from
Yes.
the grave.
Efile.
Oh, because I'm confused.
Number one.
You're like,
Number two,
10 steps,
they,
2 years,
what
but
they're
they did
doing
it.
is they will sell the property. They will sell the property and then the monies are given directly to them, which is illegal and
Yeah,
incorrect.
definitely they did that, yeah.
The buyer will take the title deed and give them the 500,000 and then they spend it, which is incorrect. It's supposed to go to the conveyancer and that money is supposed to go into the estate to wait for this 18 months to finish. So it's incorrect. It's illegal what they're doing. When you see it, you must know, Kutatwe shortcut la.
But you mustn't report it.
I'm not
No, don't
reporting
waste your
anything.
time.
I
Yeah, don't waste your
have time.
time. Yeah. And then, but also from a practical perspective, when we follow these 10 steps, if the house is being sold, the house can be sold after the letter is obtained. So you can sell the house within 8 weeks of the death. But the money must go wait in the estate letter account until the estate is finished. So you understanding me? You can sell the house.
But the
in
money
3
is
months.
after 2 years.
The money can't be spent and divided. The money must go wait where the bank account money is waiting in the estate letter account. Yeah, those are the 10 steps. Obviously, the final step is archiving. After you've transferred, you then close this estate.
Well, archive is step 10.
Step 10 is archiving. Yeah.
This is also done by the lawyers.
This is done by the lawyers. Every step is
Archived
done by
at the master's office.
Yes, you tell the master, you give what is called a Section 35, subsection 12 affidavit confirming that the assets are accounted for, the liabilities have been paid, the creditors have been paid, SARS has been paid, and the balance has been distributed to the heirs. And we are now happy to confirm that the estate letter account is reflecting R0. The estate can be closed.
But everything is done by that lawyer. So in essence, it's a one-stop shop when you go to the attorney
the lawyer
or the lawyer
has
and they do
a
everything for
conveyancing
you.
lawyer they work with, yes. The lawyers do everything in a over 250,000 Rand estate. All right? Now, the reason for all these, how many queries we can do today is because they are struggling to do this estate administration because they don't have this average 184,000. Yes.
We've been hitting for 1.5 hours.
Flop it out.
You and me, we could talk the whole year. I saw someone in the comments say, just bring her back once a month.
We won't be able to do the DMs.
We won't. We just did estate administration.
Can we go through maybe 3 of them?
Yeah, let's do 1 or 2. Let's start with that.
For maybe 15, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then
15. I'm
wrap up.
happy with that, yeah. Because now I'm saying,
Who's a man?
August is my birth month, by the way.
Hey, happy Women's Month
14.
and Birth Month.
August is my birthday.
I want to find like easy ones. Hey, these other ones, I'm finally stress.
Go to A14.
Here's a short one.
Okay.
Go to A.
No. Start with your short one.
Hi, Zola.
Who's reading? Is it,
Anonza.
are you
From
Anonza?
Anonza.
Are you Anonza?
Tell the truth.
I need help with my grandparents' home.
Mm-hmm.
They passed away, including their children.
Okay, the children have died, yeah.
But my step-uncle, he's staying there and he chased away my brother.
Yeah.
Is it possible for him to go back?
Yeah.
Let's try and break it down.
Yeah.
Grandparents have passed. The grandparents' children have passed.
Yeah.
Step-uncle is a what?
It could be umuntu nje who maybe moved into the home. You know, this is what warrants calls. Because if someone's going to hit you with such a short question.
Ugogo umkhulu bashonile, ingane zabo ishonile.
Yeah.
One of the ingane zabo gave birth to a child.
Which is the one that's writing in now.
That child, the person that gave birth is a woman.
Okay.
Gave birth to this. And that woman got married to another man, not the father.
Yeah.
The step uncle is related to the grand. Remember, these people are fighting over a family home. Let me tell you what I understand she's saying, if she's a she. She's saying Ugogo and Mkulu have died, which means the owner of the property of the family home is Gogo and Mkulu.
Yes.
Then when Gogo and Mkulu died, depending on whether the property was transferred to but from reading this question, it wasn't. I'm assuming the owner is still Gogo and Mkulu.
Okay.
Now, because all the children have died, the one that came to live with Ugogo and Mkulu is now dictating what should happen to this house. It speaks to that thing I was telling you about earlier. When people see there's an inheritance, an estate, they think it's free for all. The strongest person in the family starts bullying the rest because why do you guys deserve this house? So this girl is saying, now this uncle has kicked one of us out, the Kulu's grandchildren out. Is this right? The answer to that question is no, it's not. Unless you are a legal owner of a property, you can't kick anyone out. So next question...
You're simplifying it. But in your step-uncle means it's not your uncle.
Someone else.
It's your aunt's husband or aunt's secondary husband. It's complicated.
That is definitely not Umtana Gogo Nomkhulu. Yeah.
Are we assuming that the
Simplifying
person
is
who wrote in is the grandchild? I get it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a
Okay.
grandchild.
All
Yeah.
right.
They've
And
said my grandparents' house.
Did I lose?
Yeah.
Did I lose something here?
You lost the question?
Oh, okay, at A3.
Don't get caught in the
Chased away my brother. Is it possible for my brother to go back?
Yes.
The short answer is yes, it's possible. But I guess the question is, what should my brother do?
Yes, can he? So what they should legally do is to immediately go to the Master of the High Court and report the estate of Gogo and Mkulu. Because obviously this child and her brother are weak compared to the uncle. So since the uncle has more power physically or maybe even financially, the only institution that can protect them outside of obviously going to court and suing is the Master of the High Court. And that's where most people are failing themselves. They don't report these estates, these 10 steps. They're thinking unless they finish all 10 steps, they might as well not report the estate. But that's not the case. An estate can sit for years at the master's office if you're stuck. But at least the master knows that Unkulu no Gogo have died. There is a master's reference number. Now that the malume is bullying them, they can go to the master and ask the assistant master to call the malume in for a meeting, to call him out, to tell him this is not your house. These kids belong in that house. So the boy can move back. But once he's moved back, now we move. That's the legal solution. Once the boy has moved back, if lo malume amshaya, how do we solution for that? How do I solution for that? It speaks to inhliziyo zabantu abanyama ezingalungile and the dispute within the black family, right? And had Mkulu done the will, by the way, and not left it interstate, it will be very clear who this house must go to. That's why lo malume cabanga ukuthi is free for all. Okay, so the answer is yes. And who is going to protect you? The Master of the High Court.
Inhliziyo zabantu abamnyama ezimnyama.
Ezimnyama. Efana nale khoflame ngiliphuza kule nkomishi with your face.
Thank you so much for joining us, Zola. Usungahamba manje. Thank you. I think we've had enough. So let me make it generic for everyone else outside of this query, but thank you for this query.
Yeah.
It's normally grandparents.
Yeah.
Some people, if they're really lucky, have great-grandparents.
Yes.
But for most of us, grandparents.
Minimalistic.
Grandparents left the house. No one knows if anything was ever done estate. Angaz. Either the children of the grandparents or the grandchildren want to know, who does this house belong to? Was it ever resolved? Am I entitled to this house? I think is basically what the question is for everyone else, because all of us have got grandparents.
Yeah.
And almost all of us don't know who the house is registered in.
Yes.
I remember when you said to Uputu David Mashabela, you guys spoke about Bram Fisherville.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that all of that property or all of that land is still owned by a mining company or something.
Mining company, that gave it to the government.
You might have grandparents there, and I was whether it has a title deed or not, who it belongs to. So then the thing becomes, go and find out if you can.
100%.
Who your grandparents' house is registered in.
100%.
And if they've passed, has it been passed on to anyone else? And should there be a discussion?
Yeah.
Where do they go for that? Where do we go to find out who our grandparents' house is?
Your average person can literally call any conveyancing attorney and ask to do what is called a win deed search. Okay. It's basically accessing the deeds office data, and then it prints out. It's a 2-page document, and then it prints out the history of the property, who it first belonged to, then it went to Mkulu. And by the way, where the gap started is when Gogo didn't do Mkulu's estate, because Gogo doesn't have 184,000. So now after Gogo passes away, now first Mkulu's estate must be done. Hey? That's the first 42,000. Then Gogo's estate must be done. That's a second 42,000. And another 42,000 as we transfer from Mkulu to Gogo, from Gogo to the children.
Jeez.
So that Malume can stop bullying these kids. So bazo tata 300 and whatever thousand.
This one deed search we can't do on our own. It has to be done through a conveyancing attorney.
Yeah, you have to do it through a conveyancing attorney. Banks also do it, but they do it only once there's a deceased person who's on their book. Okay. You can go straight to the deeds office, but they might send you to a conveyancing attorney. So zokibela it takes for amahala, basically. So that's why I prefer you call. It's averaging 200 Rand now.
200 Rand.
Yeah.
Which is something all of us should be doing.
Yeah, everyone should do this for family home. Everyone must have a win deed search on their family home. By the way,
not just for grandparents. If you've got parents as well, just check who
is the owner. Exactly. Because some instances, I have family friends where after the dad died, they discovered the house was sitting in a CC. And CCs are deregistered right now. So we had to take it through the conveyancing attorney to re-register the closed corporation so that you can transfer the house out and then deregister it again.
And now you have to pay that cost.
Yeah.
Oh,
All of those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So find out who the owner of the home is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dear ma'am, I trust you are well.
I'm the ma'am.
What a friendly person. I trust you are well.
Yeah, they're trusting I'm well. Okay, lovely.
I am checking how to go about a later state when other siblings are not cooperating.
That's the biggest challenge.
You
in the
later
black
10
hole.
years.
Yeah.
Baba.
Yes, they take 10 years. Igele. Again, go to the master.
Noma kwisangoma mhlambe as advice ukuthi
Lutho.
hamba uthola isangoma esi-strong ulanda imithi
Bathambe.
uye kwamhlaba uyalingana angazi.
I want to say, go baba no mama out there. If ingane zenu azizwani nisaphila, chances are meseniqeda ukushona it's going to be worse.
Facts.
Very
Facts.
worse. So if you can't fix the dispute of your children yourself, because usuyabona where the risk is headed, then fall onto the estate planning element. Do your will to structure for how you know your children behave. Because to leave it to them means that the estate can be reported, but a letter is not issued because none of them want to nominate the other as executor. And not all of them can be executors. Legally speaking, they can, but once all the executors are fighting, again, the estate is stuck. So this is, again, it speaks to the heart, unfortunately. It's not legal. The law is there, the steps are there, but once there isn't a last will and testament, and it depends on the heirs nominating each other, literally every step, then those are the 10-year estates.
Okay, let me jump in here. So let me jump in here. Number one, I guess the question would be, do you think the latest state is under 250,000?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Yes, as long as they're busy
If it's over 250,000, automatically you need to go and get a lawyer involved. You shouldn't be fighting with your siblings.
No, but even the lawyer can't do anything without nominations because there's no will. A lawyer can't nominate anyone willy-nilly. There are processes that are followed at the Master of the High Court.
Can the
Remember
lawyer
your
not
question.
do everything and then fight over distribution?
No, the lawyer can't get a letter of executorship because the person who's supposed to be nominated is not being nominated by the other heirs. It's stuck.
Wait, I don't understand. Let's go back
Tell me
to the
where
steps.
you're confused, yeah.
So the estate must be reported, is step one, to the Master of the High Court.
Right. The estate
By a next of kin.
And next of kin, if it's below 250,000, that next of kin must go to a lawyer and give the lawyer the documents to go report it if it's above 250,000.
But can you use this example of this person, their siblings? Let's not use another example.
This person is saying
person
the
one of my
siblings.
siblings senza kanjani ke?
Okay, no, I'm just asking. Yeah, so you've got siblings and the estate must be reported. It can be reported by anyone.
The estate can be reported. So when you report this estate at step number one, the purpose of step number one is to obtain an authorizing letter. If it's below 250,000, it's a letter of authority.
Okay.
If it's above 250,000, it's a letter of executorship.
Okay.
An agent, i.e. a lawyer or an accountant or a bank, needs to put a cover letter and a license to say, I will be assisting with the administration of this estate because it exceeds 250. That's great. That's only one compliance step that is met. The second is the forms must be submitted. The forms are death notice, inventory, next of kin affidavit if there isn't a will, nomination form if there isn't a will, to nominate who the executor is. Interstate does not nominate the executor. It has to be a caucus. They have to get along and agree. Now, if you know you have children that don't get along, don't leave your estate to be administered in terms of interstate. Do a will. Because once an estate is interstate, such as this estate, obviously, for this guy to ask this, it is stuck. The lawyer is going to submit everything, the cover letter, the license, the death notice, the affidavits, but it's going to miss nominations. And as a result, the master won't give a letter. Then that estate can be stuck for years without a letter.
So meaning that we can't go to step 2, 3,
You can't go to the rest of the steps. You're stuck at step number one. If the siblings are not getting along. Now, it means they have to go to court now for the court to decide so that the estate is not stuck. And when you litigate in a deceased estate, you can only litigate at the high court, which means you must now cater for advocate costs and a lot of legal costs that you were not ready for. Just because you need a court now to tell these siblings that aren't getting along who should be the executor that represents this estate. And the court case now is averaging 2 years. So you must just wait 2 years now to be told who the executor is. to start the estate after that for another 2 years.
This is where you go to Isangoma. Shabuyalingana. Isheshilungiso le
Why am I
Anyways, can any of the children go and report to the master of the high court, or do they first have to agree?
No.
It can be anyone. So step one can be sorted to this person.
Yeah.
Go to the master of the high court and report this number one. So
but
at least
remember,
you can do that.
The conclusion of step 1 is obtaining a letter.
Yes.
Which is step number 2. So yes, you can do step 1. But then you won't get to step number 2 because you haven't met all the qualifications.
Okay.
The
so
requirements.
step number 2 to get a letter is where then the siblings need to agree.
The siblings must have at step 1 nominated who is going to be the executor for step 2 to happen.
If they can't get that,
you can't
then
get
the suggestion
letter.
to this person is then you'll have to go to the high court.
Yeah, go to the high court and
case.
get a court order that decides who should be the executor of this estate then.
That's the advice.
Yeah, because when they go to the master's office, the master's going to send them to court as well.
Okay.
Well, you know what? And this is happening in my family because we still have my grandmother.
Okay. Lucky you.
Thank you. There are about 4 or 5 meetings. There's no decision. And I'm realizing the psychology, as I speak to my dad, I'm like, okay, what's making you guys not decide? Obviously, there's different dynamics. There's a family home. What if I want to come back and do rituals? Like, there's all these dynamics. But one thing you realize that there's a wishful thinking that if Magavaya, by some miracle,
it'll sort itself out.
And
And it's only going to get worse. Because I say authoritative voice. Now, the authority in the family is going to be a letter. It's not going to be Ukoko anymore. So it's not going to happen then.
So you would say the person must decide.
Make decisions
Make
now.
a will, finish and clear as an elder.
Do a will, please. A will is very important. The fact that only 9% of people die with the will in South Africa is shameful.
Yo.
Okay, I'm going to do 2 more.
2 more? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, sister. Hope you're good.
Is that another version of you?
Sister.
You have 3 voices in that. Is this the third?
He keeps representing the people who wrote in. And you're doing only 4 out of 20 that I sent you from TikTok.
This Katasiko. We'll
Imagine
do this again.
and only in WhatsApp.
You know, if people can pay us, we can have a segment where we just go through people's DMs and we answer them.
Yeah.
I saw on YouTube that I think it was one of your personal clips, like one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to send like a heart, supportive heart.
Hey.
I remember my partner. And then don't smile too much.
Okay, that escalated very quickly.
And you did nothing.
And love is been so innocent. And I saw that I needed to, like, I think it was a minimum 13 Rand or 14 Rand. What a small amount, by the way, to make a comment there. Yeah. So I think you can use it like that. Say like, because remember, a consultation, if I were to consult, just to talk about your family issue, 1 hour is like average on a lawyer's fee is 2,000 Rand.
Jeez.
So you now get to ask a question you're going to go pay 2,000 Rand to ask. So you pay your 50 Rand on that comments and you say, this. If you look at those queries, you saw those long ones.
Yeah.
Those are the
ones
it's going to take 30 minutes to answer that.
That's a full consult.
It's like a full video we're going to be doing just to answer that person. But I think it's valuable because if many other people have that same question, then I don't have to answer the same question over and over. So that's where the value is for me. Because if I make it in our session, then at least 100,000 people are going to see it at the same time as opposed to me taking 100,000 calls.
That's the solution, Penzo. In this video, what we should do, whoever's going to pay that thanks 100 Rand, they must ask a question in the next session. We'll 100 Rand.
It's going to get you and me in trouble. But
besides getting us in trouble, man, we just need to do it smarter because there's educating people for free.
Yeah.
And then there's Zola studied for what the advice she's giving freely now. And there needs to be some type of way where maybe those videos can be private.
Members
I don't know
only.
if it's possible for people to pay to access a video where you say, look, I'm paying 50 Rand, but wonke umuntu oyibukile paid 50 Rand to get a value at 2,000 Rand. not out of greed or whatever, but to pay you at least what's fair for your time.
Yeah, look, it's true. I particularly don't like to involve payments and all that because of compliance. Compliance is very important as a lawyer. Hey?
Because it's
your time.
It's free.
Yeah. Really, I don't take money from this work.
But we'll find a way because people have DMs, man, and this thing costs money. And it's one thing, you're going to therapy as an example now.
It's also so if they're not going to be, I'm hoping by the time I get tired, I have awoken a lot of lawyers to do it. Like Mfunuguti, I get calls from Danzan. I can't refer them to lawyers in Joburg. So where are the estate administrating attorneys of Danzan? Can they contact me on DMs and say, please bring these community home people to us? Where are the ones from Cape Town? MLAS? Can the lawyers from all these jurisdictions... No one's going to do 184,000 Rand work for free, yes. Yeah. That's where the government department collaboration comes in. But I still need the network of lawyers across the country, even with the government intervention, because we need estate administrators. It's just that budget will then cater for their fees or whatever the case may be, yeah. So I think that's the last one.
Hello, sister. I hope you're good. I have an issue with my dad.
I hope you're good. Yes,
I have an issue with my dad who bought a house from an Indian woman in KZN, not knowing that the house is still owned by the deceased mother of the lady.
Yeah.
So that Indian woman had a mother who passed away.
Yeah.
That house belonged to that ukoko.
The deceased koko,
yeah. Are you able to assist with such matters and how much would it cost? So maybe we don't have to deal with the cost. People can contact you via TikTok, whatever.
Sure.
If they'd like
specific. But I only advise. I don't action. I refer them to attorneys. That's why I'm saying all the attorneys of all these jurisdictional areas need to contact me so that I know I can refer these people to them. Yeah. Because my problem with just going on Google and finding a random attorney is these people will come through my DM. And once I refer them to an attorney, and if that attorney does nonsense, my reputational damage is a high risk at that point. Yeah.
So to answer this outside of that last point, is there a solution to a situation like that?
Yeah. Let's
try to simplify it.
Yeah.
I just bought a house from a woman and I found out that the house belonged to their mom that passed away. Is there a solution to that? Now that's your register or whatever, we find out that belongs to umuntu washona.
So the thing is, to get to a solution, you always need to drill down to the problem. The problem here is this buying of properties willy-nilly through the hand is illegal and it's incorrect. You can only buy a property through a conveyancing attorney. And immediately the conveyancing attorney is involved. They know you can't sell a house belonging to a deceased person without the letter of executorship and that authorized person on that letter signing the offer to purchase. So now, how I'm understanding this question is, Ubaba waya to the Indian woman, gave the Indian woman 500,000. I don't even know why they stated that it's an Indian woman, but okay, I'll follow the question.
We know why they said it's an Indian person.
Telling a discount, Ubabi.
No, it's not even a discount. Sorry. In South Africa, we've got an issue of racism, tribalism, and those things. So, for this person, I'm assuming that there's some type of feeling around Indian people. So,
yeah. So, had Umama, the lady who sold the deceased mom's house, and the father followed the correct process. When they went to the conveyancing attorney for the offer to purchase, the conveyancing attorney was going to immediately do a deed search and discover the property belongs to a deceased person. Thereafter, they were going to ask for the relevant documents on that are needed when you're buying or selling a house belonging to a deceased person. That is the offer to purchase signed by the person on the letter of executorship, as well as obviously the rates clearance, etc. Once that money is paid, it was going to go into the estate-led account. And then Ubaba was going to get ownership of the house. They obviously didn't follow the step. Yeah. So that's why this is an issue. Now, while this lady is alive, the Indian lady, they have to go and ask her to report her mom's estate to the master of the High Court and then follow this due process so that the Baba can attain ownership lawfully. The estate must be administered.
Should the Baba ask for his money back?
No, you can buy a property from a deceased. You just looked at those 10 steps and you saw opportunity on buying properties from a deceased estate. You can buy a property from a deceased estate. Just know the process, that it is a deceased sale. The master of the High Court must approve it, and that only the authorized person on the letter must sign the offer to purchase. I'm assuming in this sale, the Indian lady signed the offer to purchase, which makes it an invalid sale. On that basis, he can get his money back, of course.
Because I'm thinking the amount of stress and abantu abaningi bayasaba, especially lawyers and things, would say, just give me my money back.
Yeah, let me go buy a house
Go sort out your things. I'm still available. Once the things are sorted, we can then speak about.
Yes, I don't want to be
But if
involved
it's
in
a
the
waiting and...
then I don't want to be part of it. And people must know, if you're buying a property from a deceased estate, you do have an extra 8 weeks than if you're buying from someone who's alive. Because the master must approve the sale. And if the master rejects the sale, you must make sure your money is with the conveyancer so you can get it back. Don't pay your property sale money to people, to individuals. They can run away before you obtain ownership. Even if the Indian woman was the owner, had Ubaba given the Indian woman the money and then he didn't get ownership and she dies, her children can come up and say, no, Tina, we elect to not honor that sale. Ownership. This house belongs to our mother. It's ours. And Lo Baba, he has lost because the person he gave the money to is gone. You can only buy a property by paying the purchase price to a conveyancing attorney, not to the individual.
I'm not going to read any other DM.
No, I'm good with that too.
We'll do this exercise another day. I want to say thank you very much for going through the 10 steps, which people can go and find on your TikTok at Legacy Yezibaya.
Yes.
But like I said, I'll put in the comments as well. But I think Usu is celebrating now, so people will know.
Hey,
or Zola Mbatha. If you search Zola Mbatha on TikTok.
It's for celebrating now.
Thank you for raising this cost of dying.
Yeah.
And we spoke about the funerals and the fact that we must celebrate people and give them their flowers. Shout out to Somi's Mhlongo and his late mom that we all loved very much.
Yeah. Proud of Putu Somi's.
Is there anything else here? And thank you for that example of 1 million.
Yeah.
And this win deed search.
Very
Find
important.
a conveyancing attorney. Maybe the conveyancing attorneys will speak in the comments, which we're here.
Yes.
Or people will say, look, guys, there's dodgy people out there. Rather go here. This is where you'll find
I love it. Yeah.
known conveyancing attorneys. Go through this. You said it's about 200 Rand.
Yeah.
All of us must go do this for whatever properties are owned in Makagin.
Yes.
It's a small price to pay for peace and.
Yes.
And then where families are fighting, we're going to need to find a way to find solutions for them.
Yeah.
And men's conference. If you've got outside kids,
Section 37C.
if you're married, whether you're a man or not, if you have any assets of sorts, let's speak about what your plan is.
Yeah.
From here moving forward.
Yeah. I was particularly proud of this one male client, Betty. And I'm just
Why did you
saying
mention
it. I'm just
Betty?
saying
Why did you
it.
say Betty?
Why did you
they mention
particularly Betty
Indian?
man? I'm very proud of him. He knew he has kids outside of his marriage. He knows his wife doesn't know. So he then registered a family trust for the kids outside of his marriage and put assets in there, and then registered a family trust for his immediate family to minimize the fights after he has died. I'd rather they do that than lento ukuthi kuthulwe bazobona sengifile, because that is causing uncalculatable levels of fights in the black family.
So you work in the legal fraternity and you get paid for the work you do, and it's appreciated, and you must get paid, and you must have a livelihood for the value you add.
Yeah.
Outside of the solutions, which is your area of expertise and your industry, where we have to pay money, which government must assist.
Yeah.
Do you have any solution for, I'll call it, poor people in South Africa, in particular Black South Africans, on how we could potentially solve this whole thing? Because I have one, but it goes outside of your fraternity, which means you guys are not going to make money. But do you have any other solution?
I mean,
I know you believe very much in Isintu and culture, and there was a way we lived before these legal structures and the master of the and the monies and the.
Yeah. Well, look, I actually just stick to the fact that the solution from how I've assessed in the past 2 years that I've been doing this community work, it literally is the collaborative effort between those 3 government departments. And the reason for that is no one has this 180,000 to give away for free.
Yeah.
To ask it from civil society, I know Patrice Motsepe went and bought part of Capital Legacy. I think he bought it for equity purposes. It didn't bring the...
What's Capital Legacy?
Capital Legacy is the bank's competitor for will drafting and estate administration.
They do drafting of wills. Capital Legacy.
They're pushing to remove the number from 9% to a higher percentage of people who die with wills in South Africa. They've done a great job.
It's a private company.
It's a private company that Patrice Motsepe bought into because of the fact that they're coming in with the competitive element from the banks. And also one of Capital Legacy's competitive advantage is they have a policy for these expenses, for this 184,000. But you need to pay it monthly and afford it.
Johan Rupert, by the way, shout out to Johan Rupert. He's helped, I think in the Western Cape in particular, a lot of black people, black colored people get their title deeds, and he's covered a lot of those costs. I think there's another NPO.
Like that.
I'm just not sure who owns it, or if it's the guys at the Free Market Foundation.
Yeah.
They might have spoken about it, where they pay for a lot of people that are struggling to get access to their title deeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I mean, it's a very clever operating model. The more people are satisfied, the less the crime will impact me from my triple story. Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that. But the numbers are large. It's millions of people. Millions.
Only
of
9% of people have a will, you said?
Yeah, die with the will in South Africa.
So 91% of people have no will.
No, interstate. And low 9%, you know from which demographic it comes from.
And I blame the schooling system and the people that are in charge of it, because we are taught at
dissecting
school.
grasshoppers.
Well, the grasshoppers is the one thing.
I hate that thing. Yeah?
What was that about?
No, let's give them a bit of credit. So I remember in English, I think it's still the case, we're taught...
He's so angry.
Fuck, man.
Okay. I remember in English, and I think it still happens now, where we taught how to draft letters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if they
beginning,
do CVs.
intro, paragraph, yeah.
So there's no reason why in English class or business studies or whatever, where the kids, just for vibes, just for school vibes, Guti, let's pretend we're drafting a will, or let's give you a case study, Ubab Banba, and help draft a will for him, so that we conscientize. Same thing should be done with doing our taxes. Let kids do demo tax returns and. But the people who run the schooling system maybe are funded by lawyers and the like to be like, hey, so
lawyers. Really? Not some system created way before lawyers?
I withdraw my comment. But the people in the schooling system, if they were serious, should be teaching kids that, so 100%. That it's like, but guys, you know we all did wills in grade whatever.
Yeah, and
so you have no excuse. So even if you never wrote a formal will, we all wrote play wills
and
in
we
school.
Know there's a will.
So we know there's a
that
thing
it's important.
out there.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend. His name is Tandu, Dr. Tandu. He was a medical doctor, and he was headhunted by corporate, one of the banks, for him to take whatever medical knowledge from a successive perspective and design what is called the generational wealth department. So basically all he did was he took the kids of the rich clients, the bank's rich clients, and started traveling with them, taught them about cars, taught them about trading, taught them about investments at a young age, so that by the time they are ready to inherit, it's not new concept to run wealth. They've been taught it from a young age. And obviously predominantly of those kids were not black.
We spoke about this the last time we were together, I think with Penson, where we were looking at, there's an Instagram page, I'm not going to plug it because it's not anyone we know personally, where they were specifically speaking about the Jewish community, that kids are taught succession planning while they still primary school or early high school.
7-10 years.
They know all these things very early. They understand laws, and it's something that's done in the family. The same way you know how to slaughter and you pride yourself.
Yes.
They know how to draft those things 100. Because that's what they were taught at home.
We need to hybrid.
That was a young jab at our people there. And that's now says
it's from a prideful element.
I'm saying learn how to slaughter and learn succession planning. Can you not do both?
Yeah, you should do both.
Don't
lose your culture just because you want to inherit wealth.
All you learn from your grandfather is
keep his kumba.
God, now you guys are fighting over his posy. The solution, and I need to put this diplomatically.
Yeah.
Most South Africans, in particular Black people, are undereducated.
Yeah.
And they are underexposed. And anyone who is genuinely caring for them, who loves them and who wants the best for them. I had a conversation with an elderly white gentleman in the Western Cape when I was there for a conference last year, I think.
Okay.
Because he asked me what I think of tribal land and Ingonyama Trust. And I gave the views that us clever Blacks normally give. I don't think the people that are custodians, in particular the king of the Zulus or whatever kings or Dalindia, I don't think they're doing the right thing. I do think there's an argument to be made in a democracy and with capitalism that let people vote that either I'd like a piece of land that's going to be privately mine, or let's vote and say, no, we want the king or whatever to remain the custodian, etc. But let them vote in a democracy. Don't just say, but this is what was done. I need to now we have an option. And he was like, I actually think that model is what's best for the majority of the people.
Yeah.
And later on, I was blessed to travel to a place like Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And other people would say, but it's similar to Ingonyama Trust. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, all the oil and the what is under trust under this company. I don't know if it's Aramco or whatever the case may be. And then the money that comes in is on behalf of the people type of situation. Most people, most poor people, most Black people should be dealing with a permit, a permission to occupy, a PTO.
Okay.
They shouldn't be getting title deeds. They shouldn't be going through this thing because they are undereducated and underexposed. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be great for your industry and what you guys are doing. And it wouldn't be advisable for educated people and. But specifically family homes, if uyazi ukuthi ugogo nomkhulu passed away here, you are not entitled to this home or this land. Kuzohlala whoever needs it. And if you as a descendant, as a grandchild, need a place to stay, sizokusikela wakho umhlaba where you can go and live. Because the reason you guys are fighting, because you don't have a place to stay. So we will give you a place to stay. Lana kuzohlala, we'll decide nakona who's best as induna of the area, the chief or the whatever. I really think just from a home perspective, never mind assets, our wealth, you will find a place to stay.
Yeah.
And if you guys are fighting over whatever, we as the leadership will take that place away from you. We'll give it to someone else and we'll give you guys indawo zokuhlala as a solution.
Yeah.
Now this becomes problematic in cramped overpopulated spaces like townships and the like.
Yeah.
And where people don't want to go to rural areas but that becomes part of the solution, which we'll decide tomorrow. All townships are being nationalized, nationalizing the land, expropriation without compensation. All those properties now belong to government, and you will need to apply to government and say, mina ngingane yagogo Zola, ugogo wayehlala lana, and sidinga indawo yokuhlala sibawu 5. Angeke sikwazi ukuhlala sonke. Okay, sizonakhela ama-room there, sesubonile umhlaba, or khona indawo la very close there, sizonakhela ama-room what khululekani. Iy'ngane zenu zahamba. It's the use it or lose it, which people don't like. But it's iy'ngane zenu sesibonile at Winddeed. They have a property somewhere. They have a permission to occupy somewhere. They forfeit their right here. Ngoba wena unezindlu eziwu-5, and unless they're under a company, private, for rental income, which we understand, but just indawo yokuhlala,
a primary home.
You have a primary home. So you can't have a primary home awu-5.
Yeah, in most instances, the bullying family member is coming from a house that they are renting, and now they want control of the family home out of greed. Yeah, look, I don't particularly disagree with the solution. The only thing that, firstly, it's not about lawyers. Why do you keep taking it there? It's not about lawyers making money. This system, it's a system. Lawyers are the least, their importance is so minimalistic based on the uncomfortable lives that people are living in family homes. So lawyers are not particularly the solution. That's why I haven't been raising the lawyers as a solution. That's why I'm raising the government as a solution, because of the money element. Lawyers generally won't take money out of business to give. They take money in. So it's not about the lawyers. Let them. But I agree with the fact that title deed was one of the biggest issues in the black family. Not because they're not worthy or they shouldn't own these title deeds to these 4 rooms, but because there was no education in a two-pot system. It's like they created it and boom, threw it into the public, and it's causing generational financial issues without education. Yeah. So yes, title deed, not because people don't deserve to have title deeds, but because they were living better when they were living under permits. But we can't take people back. Going back can't be a solution. I don't believe in that. I feel that the family home trust is what will create the permit system, because everyone is involved in this family home trust, and it relinquishes ownership from an individual and puts it in an institution that everyone belongs to, all the children, and it becomes a generational protection tool. So the government is not going to take us back to permits. So what then is the alternative that is similar to the permit system? And that's the family trust. A family trust must own a family home to minimize all of this dispute, because this is kicking people out because we're in a and that person it's just the deciders currently of family homes are very unsubjective, or they are subjective rather, very confused, or they by influence. So currently, whoever's making decisions in relation to family homes is dependent on it's like jungle system. Whoever's the strongest financially and mentally, who's more manipulative and who's more bullying.
Yeah, more
that's
violent.
what the current setup of who's making decisions on the family home is. Bullies.
But back then, what worked back then, when the system started to have title deeds and all of that, I know in different cultures it changes. The family house must go either to the firstborn. I think the Zulu culture,
that's the
they
problem.
go to the firstborn, I think. And then I think the Pedi culture, Tswana culture, goes to the lastborn.
Yes, that's
and I don't know what
happening.
changed.
It's not, but that's what's causing the issue today.
Yeah.
If you look at the Nomthandazo Dlamini versus Sylvia Dlamini case, that's the problem.
Okay.
The firstborn inherited the house from Umkulu, and then in his will, he gave it to his daughter. Then when the daughter got it, the firstborn was treating everyone like family. But as soon as the daughter had it, she wanted her family only to benefit, and she evicted everyone.
So greed,
it's poverty.
It's poverty. It's lack of
It would be nice
resource.
if it was greed, but it's actually poverty.
No, it's not nice. Khona ba greedy. Oh, labo mamkhulu babuya kuma divorce.
Yeah. Bakhona ba greedy, but for the vast majority,
it's poverty.
Yeah.
people are looking for a place to stay, dog.
They don't
It's
have
not even
any
it's not a place they're trying to rent out for money.
Or make money.
It's a place they want
But
to
why
stay.
don't you want to share it? For me, that's the most puzzling thing. There's 5 of us. Magoga's passed away. 3 people are struggling.
I'll explain
Why
why.
can't the 3 of us share?
No,
Why
I'll
do you want to be
explain
the
why.
only one who know you are the
Because
boss?
No, let me give you a quick scenario.
Sure.
Ukoko Nomkhulu have 2 kids.
Yeah.
There are 2 kids.
Okay.
And one of the kids goes to work somewhere. And then one stays. And the one that stays is a woman. The other one maybe is also a woman, 2 girls. One leaves, they go work somewhere, what. The one stays, gets married to Umchit. Ukoko Nomkhulu pass away, or the parents pass away. This lady who married this guy passes away. The other lady's gone. Life kicks her. She gets retrenched, whatever. She needs a place to stay.
Yeah,
She finds the husband left.
Yeah.
Yes, I say that.
And
thing
this
is everywhere.
husband now, they never had kids with the daughter. He had kids with another woman.
Yeah.
And they've moved in.
Yeah.
So who are you to come in now, this girl with you and your husband and your kids? Because again, it's a
Then they
4
start
room.
fighting.
It's
Yeah.
a 4 room. We're
2
not
bedrooms.
speaking.
Yeah, 2 bedrooms.
We're not speaking a big space. Nizofunanda. Ait nahamba. Yes, but my sister, my parents, but they're not here. Lapo, you're being told by our husband and his wife.
And his surname.
That's where it gets complicated.
That's why
Yeah.
Much Alive as the shows. Barma
And
code.
ushadela
Dealing
lapho.
with these things.
Yeah, it's bad,
Anyways,
guys.
no,
Anyway,
Zola,
me
anything
too.
else?
Not necessarily. I mean, I definitely look forward to coming back and answer more of those questions from a general sharing as wide as we can perspective. But I actually am interested to see if there will be any form of contact for this collaborative effort, because that is the solution to this problem. And really, a person can only go on for so long.
Yeah.
I started in a hall in Soweto. I decided to nationalize this clinic by going in using media. I've been on, I've said this before, Gagasi FM on Mondays, 702 with Rilebugile to talk about trusts, Metro FM, Daily Theta to go talk about Section 37, the pension. And there isn't a platform I have not taken advantage to communicate the fact that kunenkinga right now in this country. And this problem is affecting family units and it's generational.
Yeah.
Therefore, it needs a strong solution, because to solve for a generational problem is something big. And so it's great, the feedback I've gotten from families here and there. Thanks to you, we've been to the master's office. People must acquaint themselves with what's happening at the master's office. Don't just leave it to the lawyer, because now the lawyer follows the 10 steps. You know the 10 steps. Go to the master's office and open the file. You must minimize fraud. There's a lot of fraud that happens once someone dies. So I'm hoping, I'm very happy with the feedback I've gotten from families where, thanks to you, we went to go discover that we had been fraudulently removed as an executor and now we've fixed it. I'm happy that my advisors are making some form of progress, but it's nowhere close to enough. Yeah. It's just the water on the side. The leaking pipe is the lack of money. Money to buy new houses, money to expand the houses, money to go get other properties, money to administer the estates, money to take transfer of ownership. It's the lack of money. Even that family trust as a solution takes money, because you have to pay for the trust to be registered and you have to transfer the property to the trust. And a trust again is not even inheriting a deceased asset, so you have to pay the transfer duty. So everything, all of it, it needs money, and money is the one thing majority of Black South Africans do not have. Yeah. So I'm calling on the government, these three departments, Master of the High Court under Department of Justice, Home Affairs, as well as the Deeds Office. There has to be a collaboration that happens, a office, a hotline to take all the people who just need verbal advice, because I cannot do it forever. And then the actioning element of this collaborative effort, where the actual estate administration is done. The conveyancing attorneys that are working with these departments, where they won't charge these transfer costs. The department that deals with rates clearance, it's municipalities. Municipalities must come to the front. Are they going to transfer Leskoloto to the next heir, or are they going to clear it? What are the probabilities of this family being able to pay this 100,000? And I'm not saying give Black people in the communities free water and electricity just because they can't pay for it once the owner dies. I'm saying, but something must be done. Yeah. Because right now, one of the great things I love about South Africa is that, yes, we have homeless people, but it's not like a scourge. It's not like in America where every corner is full of homeless people. But at the rate we're going, we are headed there. A lot of South Africans are going to be homeless on the street after being kicked out by a sheriff and using the South African police service to kick out South Africans because these properties are being stolen. In most instances, not even by South African. So we have non-South Africans kicking South Africans out of their homes because they can't administer estates. It cannot be that way. It needs to stop.
Sis Zola Mbatha, siyabonga kakhulu.
Bonga mina bhuti.